likes Lumberjanes and Steven. Jess likes Monroe, Jimmy Olsen. And you're in luck, because they're ahead.
Heyo, welcome to the Omnidog and Omnicat show with Earth One Classic, Jess. Earth One Silver Age, Jess, and I guess I'm Classic Older Jess, Golden Age Jess. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi,
yes.
Jess. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm living my best life in the limbo we all live in that exists between Christmas and New Year's, where nothing counts. There are no rules. Live your best life.
No rules.
What day of the week is it? We don't know. Love that. So I'm enjoying that season.
Here's an example of who's really in charge of the show. Yes. Max is like, oh my God, begin already. We were sitting back in the green room talking about our Christmases, and Max is like, hurry up.
We're building suspense. You don't know what we'll reveal later. There's no telling.
Yeah, we had to talk about the show. And now he's calling me a coward. No, we were just talking about our Christmases. YP, hey, welcome. I'm almost done with Superman Triangle Era Omnibus, about 10 issues or so left. We would have gotten further along. I think we could probably finish it up whenever we want. If you still, I mean, there's lots to talk about. But we were limited on time because of Christmas. Mm-hmm. Jess's family insisted on visiting her at Christmas time and just loved her so much they wouldn't leave. And so she only had like 3 hours to read the book. So
that's actually pretty accurate. It was about 4 hours of space. I was like, how much can I knock out?
Saz Murph is here trying to beat the rush over from Very Fine Condition, where William Lee was coming from. That's good. Thank you for coming over from Very Fine. And Chris, what a nice guy. Hello to the two best Jesses on YouTube. Even though we're probably the only Jesses on YouTube. Actually, I don't accept any other Jesses. I got upset when I found out there was another kid in middle school with the first name Jess. I was like, that's my name. Listen, I don't like that. So I don't acknowledge any other Jesses except us.
The most popular baby name in the United States of America in 1987, which is the year before I was born, was Jessica. The number 2 name in 1988 was Jessica for girls. So really? I was never like the only one, and it would like haunt me. And in fact, my freshman year of college, because those babies all grow up, obviously. My freshman year of college, on my floor alone, and I went to like a small liberal arts college, not like a massive university. There were 3 Jessicas alone, just on my floor.
On your foot?
Yeah, so we all had to like develop variations of our name over the course of 4 years to distinguish between us. And those weren't even all the 4 in my class. That was just like on my floor freshman.
On your floor?
Yeah. So
fun. I'm trying to think, Jessica. I don't think I know any besides you, like in real, like if I'm in real life. I don't think I don't know. I don't think I know any Jessicas. I'm surprised. That's hilarious that there are so many just in your dorm floor. Mm-hmm. So what was your designation?
Yeah, they mostly did variations of our last name. For example, there was a girl on my floor. Her last name is Watts, so they called her J Watts. And for me, they took the second part of my last name and called me like J Craft.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I like J Craft and J Watts. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Kane is here. Yay, Kane.
Hello.
Hello. And up, Pitty Ma. Hello.
Oh, babies.
On her pitties. Omnibo. And I was thinking of going to bed. 5 a.m. means it ain't happening now. Where do you get the energy, Bo? You are from Aussie. This is Bo from Aussieverse, who's appearing in January. And I do not understand. Aren't you like 40 or 30 or 35 or something? Where do you have this energy of an 8-year-old that you're staying up all night?
I have to say, So my local indie theater is playing a movie I've been wanting to see for a while, which is The Warriors. Never
Oh, yeah.
seen it.
Oh, it's
It just
so
seems like it's
good.
my jam. Yeah. And the start time, it's I think it's in a week or two, is 10 p.m. on a Friday. And I'm like, that's the start time, 10 p.m. There's one showing. They do this thing called Freaky Fridays where they play like weird movies. I think it's once a month on Friday. And I'm like, can I do it? Can I go to something that starts at 10 p.m.? And I don't know that I can. I am Grandpa Joe in my pajamas.
What it now,
Like,
don't
thing.
you have a friend that you go to those with, don't you? Is she a constant friend that goes to those with you? You went to The Shining, I remember, with the blood coming out of the elevators in that lobby,
Yeah.
which you are I
Yeah, her husband goes to Freaky Fridays regularly, but they don't play movies always that I like, the Freaky Fridays ones. But this is
oh,
the first one of the year that I'm like,
could
oh yeah, I want to
it
see that.
it would definitely help if you had a friend come pull you out of your apartment to go to that. I
I know
mean,
I should tell him to come pick me up. The ironic part is I think he's about 12 or 15 years older than me, so he's really gonna struggle. So we'll see
oh,
which one
staying
of
up
us
till
can make
10
it.
p.m. I know I have like yeah, it's been hard for me to, well, it's hard for me to leave the house just in general. And yes, I am
Mm,
now in therapy because my wife made me get into therapy for it because it's actually a real problem. She's like, I kind of want to travel, so I
yeah.
need to know if I have to, get one of my sisters to start traveling with me. And I'm like,
Oh.
okay, whatever.
I
Sure.
think you can do it. The first way to start is to take the first step. I think you can do it. 2025 is your year.
Um, yeah, yeah, it is. Wait, my year for what? Leaving the
Travel.
house?
Yeah, you gotta leave your house.
Oh man.
Start small. Work your way up.
Now I'm looking. Okay, so you and I have a show on the 18th with Maddie, and we're going to be reading new Superman books. But I'm wondering if, uh, oh, and that same day I have Batter Days with Batmantha, and then Bo is on at 8 p.m. with Aussieverse, and Dominic from the Comic Book Report is on that month. I don't have anybody for January 4th yet. You I'm just putting it out there. You don't have to appear only for Superman. I know you read other things. Um,
Sometimes.
oh, is it mostly Superman comics? I know you read
No,
prose and shit, but
I do read prose and shit. Yeah.
yeah. So I couldn't really talk to you about that because I don't. I mean, peace and love to prose. I still have plenty of prose
Mhm.
books that I pretend that I'm going to read from like 10 years ago.
You never know. It's just ride the wave. It might come back to you. You don't know.
Um, yeah. Javier's here. How are you doing, Javier? Oh, Alon. Peace and love,
Hi,
Alon.
Elon.
My favorite duo, Espresso Camel. Merry Christmas. Dan Jurgens Superman is unmatched. Can't wait for
Ooh,
Triangle Years Volume 2.
me too. I also am hoping that comes out this year.
Make the guy who stays up all night a mod already. Okay, wait. I think I can do that. Let's see. Just a sec. I have to go to this and I got to mute myself. Let's see. Max, okay. Omnibo. Go to channel pin, add as moderator. Managing moderator. Okay, I'll make you the biggest. Wait,
Ooh,
is managing moderator. Yeah, you're like the king of all kings now. There you go.
don't abuse your power.
Actually, Alon, you want to be a moderator too? I don't care. I'm making you a moderator. Oh wait, maybe that'll make Bo feel sad. Okay. I don't want to make Bo feel sad. It's Bo's day, so I don't want to I feel like this family nonsense is really getting in the way of these very important streams.
It's true. A little bit true, yeah.
Yeah. We do have a Kratos. Hi from France, 7 p.m. here. Welcome, Kratos. Jess and I both got Peanuts things for Christmas. Do we
Yeah,
want to show them off? I know I want to
sure.
because I remember having I remember having what you have. Freddie showed this off one time. This is out of print now, but I put a search on eBay for it and I found it because buy it now is like $80 for this thing, and it's not
Wow.
that old. 2018, $25. And this is a collection of the comic books that came out in the late 50s. There's a very good, very informative forward that says he only did like a couple of covers, and there were other artists and writers that he trusted that did these, but then when they left, it fell off drastically. Like there's a robot that shows up in one, and it's not too far away. Yeah, here it is. The robot steals. There's a robot that shows up, and I think it steals Linus's blanket here. Oh no, Snoopy. But this is when it goes off the rails.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when somebody else takes it over. I'm almost to the point where it gets really odd, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing a robot.
Yeah, that's fun. I don't, you know how they're making all these like things that are coming into public domain. They're like, let's make it a Winnie the Pooh horror, Willie. I'm like, I don't want that to happen with the Peanuts. I think they're too precious for me, but I do like a bit of, I think it'd be fun to have a zany thing like that. That's not too far off. That said, I love the Archie horror stuff. So maybe it would be surprising how much I'd like it. So
that was those Archie ones. I loved those also. And I kept them because, so that means I will reread them. I feel like those were done really well. They had a lot of good writers doing those, and the art was usually good, except for that first Sabrina one. Oof.
Yeah, I didn't like the Sabrina.
Oh, the Sabrina trade paperback was just like somebody had taken a sponge and smeared the art all over the place, and I was just like, wait a second, I'm not digging this at all, but I loved everything else.
Yeah, me too. They're super fun. I want the second. I love Afterlife with Archie. Like, no joke, it's one of my favorite books of all time. But they still have not collected the second half in a physical collection yet.
That's
because
right.
the writer went on to create the Riverdale TV show, and like it just left. It was just in limbo for so long. But it's like, that's one of my like most desired things is to have them collect all of Afterlife with Archie physically. And it's not that hard to do. I don't know why they haven't done it so far. So I have the singles for the ones that weren't collected, and then I have the volume 1. I love.
I don't think I have forgotten that. Afterlife with Archie. What? Who's the writer?
I can never say his last name. It's the creator also of Riverdale, Roberto. Let's see. Someone might get it before I'm able to look it up. Roberto Aguirre, Sacasa.
Okay.
Someone who
put those out? Did Boom put those out?
I don't. I'm not sure. It's a good question. They're kind of buried.
What actually? Why are we searching when I know James already has the answer down at the bottom? Yeah. William Lee, but you're the William Lee that paid off his burger bets. All burger bets have been paid off now, and I actually still have to go to Jolly Bee to get my spicy chicken sandwich that he paid off. Okay, Max Appleman, yeah, okay, blah 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 blah. One neighborhood. Oh, this is Johnny from Finland. With is Aaron with you? Aaron, your fabulous young child. One neighborhood kid growing up. Was it Jessica? Jess the elder, maybe the only jester I've ever known now. Jester is a common nickname for me, which I embrace.
That suits you.
42. Oh, he's 42, and I borrow 50%
Wow.
of my energy from Elon and the other 50% from Max. The real question is, where do they get theirs? Yeah, Max can stay up pretty darn late too.
Also, is this like a dark web trade? Like I could sell some energy, somebody could give me some. How do we get into this? Because like I'd be willing to spare some and have a weekend in if I could borrow some to go to a 10 p.m. showing of the Warriors.
Yeah, I
Let's
get
go.
it. Now, well, I can't promise you this, but I'd at least
Hmm.
think about it. If I lived near you, I would think about going with you to that 10 p.m.
Mhm.
show. That is way late for me to leave the house. I don't even like leaving to see a 7 p.m. show because
Mm.
it's dark out and I'm scared of the dark, apparently. I don't know why. Don't give
It,
away the plot.
the summer classics, which I go to regularly, I start the evening showing is at 7:15, and that's just right for me. It's still light when you go into the movie at 7:15 in the summer, so those are great. But yeah, the 10 p.m. ones, that's a killer.
I'm not offering you to travel with Patty. I'm in therapy so I can travel with Patty. Alon says he enjoys mushroom stroganoffs.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
good
All
for you.
stroganoff, yes. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Just 2. Okay, make sure to save Saturday, February 1st for Royal Rumble live stream watch along. Okay, first of all, I don't have a guest that day at 1 p.m., so that might be uh, but I only like to watch the women. There's something about big hairy men grappling with each other that doesn't do it for me. Peace and love to all of those of you who do like that. I am casting no aspersions on you. But I really like that one wrestler who's like a gymnast. The first show I ever watched, and I'm sorry, Jess, the Venn diagram of wrestling and comic book nerds is huge, which I found out. If I let it happen, this would turn into you'd watch me answering chats about wrestling for the rest of the show. So many people are into it, but I can't think of the woman's name, but you guys will know. She was a US gymnast, and she did a backflip somersault thing out of and out of a I don't know what she was in, whatever you call it when she's like getting wrestled on the ground. She backflipped out of it, and I was like, "That's my wrestler," and I can't think of her
Is this
name.
it? Omnibus says Tiffy time.
Yeah, Tiffany. Sorry, I'm way behind. I don't know. Just in this stream, okay. There, yeah. I don't know that you can boot James. James seems to
It wouldn't go well for you.
rule all. Jessica, I see you are heading to Storygraph. Are you on there yet to follow? What are we talking about? What is that?
Yeah, I'm on Storygraph and Fable. I'm gonna try them both out for a year and see which one I like more. Jess, you're familiar with Goodreads. You use Goodreads,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's similar to Goodreads. I've been trying to give Amazon less of my money and time for
Oh,
perhaps obvious reasons.
I just found out that it was an Amazon thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. This will be an easy sell. Keep going.
So Storygraph and Fable are both very similar in what they're trying to do as far as Goodreads tracking your reads. And there are some features that are better. For example, on Fable, if you post that you're reading something, I'm like, oh, Jess, tell me what you think about this afterwards. You can reply to me in that thread. Whereas with Goodreads, it's like 1993. They haven't updated it. You can make a comment, but it's like no one can comment on the comment. It's kind of a mess. So there's some good selling points for them. Both of them have a feature. The one on Fable is easier to use, and Storygraph's a little more challenging. But both have a feature where you can take your entire Goodreads, all the ratings you've given, the reviews, etc., and they will import it into Storygraph and Fable.
Oh.
They're both free. They do that for free, which I think is important because so many people have used Goodreads for lack of an alternative.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try both out for the year, and I am deleting my Goodreads probably sometime late January just to make sure everything copied okay. So I've been giving people a heads up. So yeah, if any of you are on Storygraph or Fable, I can put in a comment my
Do they
account.
still have the dumb 5 stars, or have they do
Oh,
any?
Jess, the best part. Both one allows for half stars and one allows for even quarter stars on top of that.
Woo! Sold.
Another cool thing, actually, because you run your book club with Larry's library, right?
Yeah.
There is a feature in Fable. They might have it in Storygraph. Someone might be able to reply, but there's a feature in Fable where you can host a book club. So you can put like, this is what we're reading. And within that, people can talk back and forth a little bit about what they're thinking about the reading. So there's a couple of different like features that don't exist. There are some things that they maybe don't have that Goodreads does, but I haven't found any yet that are things that I use like as features. So definitely worth checking out. If you want an alternative to Goodreads, I would check both of them out. I'm going to try them both for a year and see which one I like overall.
Yeah. The quarter and half star are really important to me. I only use it to track what I've read, and so I can have an easier time figuring out what my best of was, since that's coming up. I have a couple of other books I want to read before I do that. So yeah, I'd be happy to. Okay, let me also for Christmas I got like 45 of these pens, which are my favorite pens.
Oh, nice. Kristen and Mary-Ann love a pen discussion. So if you want to make a plug for pens, there's a big audience
pens,
for that.
right? Kristen, I know Kristen does. Does Mary also?
I don't know if they collect them so much as there's a certain type of pen that they really appreciate, and at all times will try to sell you this pen. I don't know if they're getting a commission or what it is, or if they just genuinely love them.
I feel like Kristen might actually have a fountain pen collection. I'm not sure though.
Quite a few.
Okay, Jeffrey's here. Hey, Jeffrey, hello. Thank you. Nobody does that. Omnibo will now put me in timeout, living the dream.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, no, we can't afford to lose James. See, Jess, I stand by my comment. You do for me than that fake Omni collector on that other channel. Right, Bo? I got Snoopy socks for Christmas. That is cool. Now, we actually haven't seen what you got.
Yeah, I was going to say, I forgot about it. So my dad and I both like thrifting, going to estate sales, etc. And so he got me, and I've put it on my shelf, I think it's from 66 from what I can tell, Jack in the Box peanuts. It does not work, but I will show Snoopy. You can still open and close it, which is very cute.
This is
I like
awesome.
this side the best.
Yeah, that's great.
And then a little Schroeder. This part does not work, but you can still use the lever. It's Mattel, and then there's like a little Snoopy in there. He's a little horrifying. He does look like he would be in a horror movie. But we're just going to use the other part to display on the shelf.
That's a great gift. I love that your dad and you love to go thrifting. Patty and Kelly do that too.
You can find some great stuff. Yeah, I love it. It's like a treasure hunt a little bit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. Lassie might make a better Cujo. How about Babe and Animal Farm? No, wait. I don't. I love that first Babe, but I knew not to see Babe and the Pig in the City. I knew better than that. Smurf's agreeing with you. Archie Horror was a lot of fun. Archie published them.
Yeah.
But
that makes sense, yeah.
Okay, that does make sense. There, he had it right there.
Yeah, I cannot say if anyone has a frenetic phonetic pronunciation of the, is it Aguera Sacasa? I don't know how to say that. I'd like to say it correctly, though, if anyone knows how it's said.
Just realized I get energy from James, too. Got to rejig my maths.
And yet James has not dropped the link for the black market exchange of soul energy that we really desperately need. He's like, here's Storygraph, here's Fable. This is not, we need essential life-saving services. Energy for people over 30. Thank you.
Discounted price if you see a movie in the afternoon. Right. That's if I
Yes.
leave the house. Okay, you're a monster, Elon, and Royal Rumble watch along. That's a mouthful. Hell yes, please. Elon, no. Wait, what are we? Okay. Tiffy time. Okay, the women's Royal Rumble usually starts the show, so it could work. Okay.
Okay.
Tiffy time. Yes. Okay. She's the gymnast. Okay, we're talking to Elon in the comics. Oh,
As we
okay.
should.
He'd love this live stream though, and I'd let him stay up, catch some of it, especially now that he has an even greater love for Superman. Yay! I got a very nice card from them from Finland.
Aw.
It was awesome. Is she the current? This is okay. My limited knowledge. Is she the one that is holding the suitcase full of money, or is that Liv Morgan? Those are like the two that I know.
Is this like a Deal or No Deal parody
No,
wrestling match?
I'll let somebody in the chat explain she carries the gold belt and there's a briefcase full of cash, and I believe she carries it until she loses it. She's if I'm right.
Like if you're a champion, you get a briefcase and a belt?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Omnidog live chat. Love Becky Lynch, Chelsea Green, Jade Cargill, Liv Morgan, and Rhea Ripley. Who I need in this chat is Batmantha. She is a huge wrestling fan. She was training to be a wrestler until she got a concussion.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, that was back when she was like 15 or 16, but she got a concussion and she was training with somebody famous. The chat will know.
Wow. It makes sense that there's overlap, but like, because there's costumes and storylines, but I could never get into it. But a lot of my friends were raised on watching wrestling with their dads, and you just don't know who's going to reveal themselves to be a wrestling fan. And then it happens, and it's always the most surprising person, but it is because they stayed up and watched it with their dad, and it just like did something to their brain chemistry when they're a kid. It'll be like the most unassuming, spends all their time at the library young lady, and then she's like a secret closet massive wrestling fan. You're like, where did this come from?
That's kind of what I thought about Batmantha. She's very quiet and soft spoken. She does travel a lot, so but she's and she was sort of reticent to be on the show, but now that she's been on the show, she enjoys it, so she'll be on more often. And I think even she's appeared on Aussieverse, and I think Very Fine wants to poach her, so I won't hold that against her. But she's very quiet and soft spoken. And then I find out that she trained to be a wrestler. I said, that's interesting. This was when we were trading messages in Instagram, which is how I contacted her. And she said, yeah, here's the thing. I'm really weird. And I said, oh my God, you're perfect for my show then. You are absolutely perfect for my show. That's what I want. Somebody weird. That's perfect. Yeah, you're in charge now. Bo sleeps on European time. You can on Fable. I thought I saw you couldn't yet. Is that transfer all your Goodreads stuff you're referring to?
I think it's the partial stars. I'll double check, Chris, to make sure that I'm not mixing anything up, but I'm pretty sure you can. Both of them do import though.
These are apps. Aren't you famously app averse?
No. I struggle with apps that people communicate over because I will forget to reply, or I'll get
Oh,
stressed out because I have, not that I'm like wildly popular, but like I just let things pile up and I don't reply if I don't reply right away. Max knows because Max messaged me about something weeks ago, and then today I'm like, here's 8 audio messages replying to everything. Because like when I have the time and I think about it, I want to be present. I don't want to just reply to reply. Do you know what I mean? But like there's too many apps to talk to people on. But I try.
oh,
I
okay.
try
To talk to
the
people on. Yeah, I get
yeah.
that. I have I'm trying to just do Discord now because
Mhm.
Messenger is so botched up for
Instagram or
Facebook.
Facebook. Oh yeah.
Instagram I haven't been to in a while, and there's like 20 things from Max there. He loves sending me funny videos, and I just haven't gone. I don't have anything to say. Well, I don't have anything to say on Blue Sky either. I still haven't gotten rid of that first account. Um uh Kane loves those pens too. Yay. Oh, here's
Oh,
Harvey.
nice.
Someone asked me to join a pen club back in grade school. I was put off because apparently there had already been 14 of these pen clubs
Wow.
and it wasn't exclusive. Yeah, what is this leaving this house
Mm.
thing? What, okay, what is it, Bo? I don't know. She's carrying around this gold suitcase and a belt and
Well,
she's all
later
happy
someone
about
says
it.
it's a contract, so I don't know. It's like the
What
promise of money, or is there actually cold hard cash in the suitcase? And has anyone seen it, or have we just been told what's in it? Like,
Uh,
could
Tiffy
this
is
all be a
holding the
lie?
money in the bank briefcase, which means she can cash in on a standing champion. Oh,
What
at
does that
any
mean?
time.
What does it mean? Cash in a standing champion, like call them to fight?
Money in the bank
Okay.
is an opportunity for yeah, I think sounds like it for a championship match anytime. Okay.
Okay. I assume you get money for being in the championship match, maybe?
Uh, I don't. Inside the briefcase is a contract. Okay. Well, I don't know. See, I watch these things with the sound off when I'm on Omnibros. It's on Monday and Friday night, and I just watch the women in the very beginning, and she just shows up with a briefcase. So I thought there was cash in it.
I love that for
I'm
you.
a
I
fake
love that
fan.
you're just trying to figure out what's going on. No audio. You're like, hmm.
Yeah, right.
It's
As
like when
long as
telenovelas were on when I was a kid, and I'd be like, this is obviously the storyline because I don't speak Spanish.
right. Uh, Bo, yes, Batmantha is awesome. I'm going to have an all Kiwi show in February with actually I'm um Beyond Comics and Peter M and Batmantha calling all Kiwis. Ooh, that's what I'll call it. Calling
Mm.
all Kiwis. And I'll have their pictures. Yeah, that's going to be on a Friday night because Peter M said so and it was his idea. So I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure, whatever."
Fun.
Um I enjoyed the multi-part audiobook you sent. I think that was to you, Jess.
Yes. I saw, well, Max and I had been chatting about Heretic, which I still think you need to see. That was the Hugh Grant horror movie where the
Oh.
Latter-day Saints come to his door. That is the plot of the movie, which is pretty good. Yeah, it was one of my favorite horrors of the year for sure. Not top, but pretty good. I would recommend that one. And then we were chatting about a movie neither of us probably would recommend. Max, let me know if I'm wrong, which was called Strange Darling, which was a serial killer movie told in 6 chapters in a non-linear fashion, and it was a bit
Hmm.
pretentious and a little, it didn't land. And then I had recently seen Nosferatu, and I was asking Max if he had, and he had as well, because that just came out Christmas Day, the
Oh, right.
Nosferatu remake.
And uh did you enjoy it? What I
Yeah, it's worth seeing in theater. It's a spectacle, you know. Like I had told Max, I actually watched the first Dune finally. I had been putting it off, and I felt similarly about them. They were both visually stunning, doing very like good work. Like it's worth seeing it on a big screen if that makes sense. but both left me just a little like cold, just kind of like I wasn't emotionally connecting with the story. But I think Nosferatu did a good job like building tension. It felt very like this isn't going to end well for anyone, and kind of creeping dread. That's the best way to describe that one.
Oh,
But it was a bit too long for me, and I wish it took a few more unique like chances to do something unique and different. But it was visually stunning. I won't take that away from it. It was probably one of the best looking movies I've seen all year for sure. See
okay.
it in the theater if you're interested in seeing it for sure.
Yeah, I am interested. Discord is the place to be. Yeah, I'm not getting Jess or Omnicat on there anytime soon. Although I do like it there. Has Earth One Jess been on since the Superman trailer?
Oh,
No.
how did we not start this show talking about that? That's a little embarrassing. Let's do it over again.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Doc Elevator. Now I could show it without sound. I think I could show it without sound, but I think that if I showed it, I could get a copyright hit, and I can't afford any of those.
But what did you think?
Oh my gosh! First of all, of course, I sobbed as soon as crypto showed up.
Which is right away. So immediately you were bawling.
I was crying through the whole thing. As soon as I heard him whistle and I saw this blizzard of energy coming towards him, I said, "No way!" And it was just such an awesomely perfect crypto that was licking his face and home, take me home. And then of course I was worried, like, uh-oh, what can beat on Superman that badly that he hurtles to Earth? So that I thought it did a great job there. I loved seeing all the. Usually, I don't like when there's more. Like I felt Spider-Man 3, the Tobey Maguire one, and Batman and Robin. There was just what room. I actually never saw Batman and Robin because I knew it was going to suck because there were just too many villains in it. But this thing has extra heroes in it, and that I saw Mr. Terrific and Hawk Girl. And is that supposed to be Metamorpho, the gray-faced guy with lines in his face?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So I have seen the trailer, but if I know I'm going to watch something, I try not to watch the trailer, but I wanted to be a part of the discourse. I just wanted to see it the one time. So I didn't pay close attention. And then when I was talking back and forth to Batmanda and Noir Wolf a little bit about the trailer, they were like, was that this? Was that this? And I was like, missed all of that. Was so enamored after they had crypto on. I was like, well, I'm going to see this.
Yeah.
And everything else was, but yes, I think so. That was my guess. And the chat seems to think so as well.
Oh, okay. See, because I missed that was Metamorpho. I saw it. I'm with you. I generally don't want to see a trailer if I want to see it, but I was like you also. I won't watch anything further than this. When there's like the 2-minute thing that comes out closer to the movie, I'm not watching that.
Yeah, same. Oh, and Omnibo's last comment at 144. Yes, I totally missed the Guy Gardner.
Oh,
entirely somehow. I don't know, but when we were messaging back and forth, we were like, Hawk Girl. That was all we wanted to talk about. And then yes, and I was like, oh, that did happen.
And he has the perfect look on his face when he walks in there. Okay, so it is Metamorpho. That's interesting. How is anybody supposed to know that? How did you know that? Did you know Metamorpho was going to be in the movie? I thought it was some new villain. It looks like a cool Metamorpho, but that's cool.
The tone really well. First off, okay, the two things that stood out to me after Crypto, because again, after that, I was like, okay, this is the greatest Superman movie of all time. Just kidding.
Yes, I agree with that.
The two things was the kind of like electric guitar version of the Superman theme that was underneath of it. Really rad. I would kind of want to just listen to it without even watching it again, just to hear it again. And then the other thing was like, so far, and we'll see, because of course the trailer can be so different than the actual movie. I mean, that's true across the board. The tone feels really fresh to me, and like a nice blend of what I did like about the Man of Steel movies, because I didn't hate them. I didn't hate them for sure. There were things I did enjoy and appreciate. Um, with the tone of like the new Superman animated show is a little more, it's a little more juvenile, and this kind of feels like a blend of both. It feels like grounded but also fun, reverent, but in a way that's like reverent to the era that we're currently reading, to be honest with you. In that it feels like a lived in world and not some big cinematic world. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
it feels grounded and fresh, and the character, like the casting is kind of right on the line for me of the age, because like the new animated Superman show, they read really young, and I mean they kind of are, they're like in their early 20s, and then what we've gotten lately in Superman big screen is like mid to late 30s to like even early 40s. It feels like there's nothing wrong with that. Both are fine. But this kind of in between captures, I think, what I'm trying to convey, which is like the tone feels different, and like a nice blend of what works from all of those different kind of versions of the character and of what is trying to be portrayed on screen, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. I also did not. I liked Man of Steel a lot. I didn't. I get what the things were that people had problems with, but I didn't have a problem
No.
with anything. I actually enjoyed Man of Steel,
Yeah.
and I guess I get why people didn't, but I also, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I uh, I think I came out. Actually, I don't know if I admitted this or not. I think I did. There was a couple Omni Bros ago when it first came out where we had Bunk on, and Bunk is like even the hugest wrestling fan ever. Um, I created a Who Knows Jess Better way of talking about the trailer. I took bits of it, every bit of it, and I said, you know, did Jess like this? At what point did Jess cry? This. And it turns out that Bunk knew me better
Yeah.
than Lou did. Lou, who I've been partnered with for 8 years on Omni Bros. But I did tell people that I'm not a huge lover. As much as I love Christopher Reeve's Superman, I'm not the biggest fan of even the director's cut, because Gene Hackman's next. Sorry?
Of the first one?
Yeah. Any version of the first one. And there were cool parts to the second one that I liked, but Gene Hackman just really wrecked it for me. His manic goofiness just was like, I can't take this seriously. And I mean, I saw it in theaters. So let's see, Superman, I guess it came out in 1978. So I was 19. So I wasn't any different than I am now. I still think superheroes are real. So fine. I don't. But it just took me, it kind of took me out of the movie, how goofy Lex Luthor was. And I don't know the actor like everybody else does that's playing Lex Luthor in this one we're talking about. Whoa, he radiates the right kind of Luthor evil energy that I want, and he didn't even say anything. We just saw him, and I just saw it was like a combination of, well, it picked up everything that I like recently about Luthor, how he's just so angry that Superman even exists in his metropolis, in Luthor's metropolis, that he's just passionately pissed off at this guy and has this I don't know what his angle is going to be in this movie, but he was already scary looking, and I could tell that I was going to like him, way better than I ever liked Gene Hackman. And peace and love. Don't everybody come at me for not loving the first Superman movie. I am fully aware of how great it is and stuff, but I just never dug. I never dug Gene Hackman, and this Luther's not going to pull me out of it. The only criticism I had about the trailer was I felt they gave away too much of Lois and Clark and Lois and Superman romance. I felt there was a little too much romance. I would have liked it if there was like a hint of romance, but they were like showing me, oh yeah, they utterly fall in love like within this first movie as Clark and as Superman, and so that was the only criticism I have, and that's not very much of a criticism. It's like it's good that they, fall in love with each other. That's part of the deal. So
yeah, that's interesting. Can I ask you, how did you feel about Jesse Eisenberg's interpretation of Lex Luthor? Because I feel like that interpretation to me felt like the biggest departure from what we had seen leading up to that. And it was really divisive. Like some people were indifferent, but a lot of people were like, that was terrible. And then others were like, that was genius. And I'm curious, like, where you fall on the spectrum with his interpretation.
I felt that was Jesse Eisenberg. I feel like Jesse Eisenberg is evil. I think he's an evil person.
This was not where I thought that answer was. Has he done something like personally to you?
No. Ever since Social Network, I've always felt like, I mean, Adventureland, he was good. Wait, or is that what it's called? Adventureland? Yeah. Was he in Zombieland?
Zombieland.
Yeah, and I liked him in both of those. I loved Zombieland. But yeah, I have I'm trying to, I'm sort of mixed on him. Where was the scene where he's in the I can't remember what this was at the end of now. He's in some boat and Deathstroke or Deadshot or somebody shows up and Luthor, this was like an end credit for some movie, and I can't remember what it was, but he was, and we're not going to see it now, which is fine. But he was Deathstroke or somebody shows up, and Jesse Eisenberg is Luthor and says, I see we have a mutual hatred for somebody. Want to team up or something like that. I can't remember what movie it was at the it was one of the mid credits or end credit. But let's see. You can see I'm just stalling for time to figure out what I think of Jesse Eisenberg. I thought he was a fine Luthor. I didn't hate him. I didn't love him. I thought he was fine. Better than Hackman. Not going to be as good as this Luthor.
Yeah, Nicholas Hoult, who's the one who plays Luthor in this one, is in Nosferatu. So if you see that soon, you'll see he's a great face actor. He really he has a very angular face, and he really knows how to use it, I have to say. So I'm also interested in his interpretation. I don't know anything about Jesse Eisenberg's character as a person, so I won't be coming out as believing he's evil or good. I have no idea. But I really like those movies overall. I think they're deeply flawed. Absolutely. Like I can name what the flaws are. But I like the Snyderverse interpretations of Superman. All of them, I would say. The only one I will say I really just did not enjoy, I can't find something that I really would make me watch it again, was the Justice League movie. Even the like newer
even the Snyder cut you didn't care for.
There was nothing in it that made me want to rewatch it, especially at that point, because there was so much drama leading up to it. I was just kind of like over the discourse, but my hottest take, maybe, I don't know.
Oh, wait, I have a, let's see, where is that?
Now it'll be anticlimactic. Let's see.
Yeah. What is your hottest take?
My hottest take is high key. I loved Batman v Superman. I thought it was a fun movie. I cried at the end of it. I'll never forget, because I went with my friend who's he's actually the one who got me reading comics regularly years ago. And he and I were seated for the same film. I didn't look over to him throughout the course of the movie. He didn't look over at me. So I had no clue what he was experiencing, but I cried at the end of that movie. I looked at him and he was like, that was the dumbest movie I've ever seen. And I was like, we had different experiences. And then when the extended version came out, I loved that too. And I was like, I love this. And I think I'm one of like 25 people that loved it. I didn't think it didn't make me want to like go to WB Studios and beg them for more and more, but I was like, I liked that. I liked that interpretation, but I thought Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor was a really creative interpretation. I was really skeptical. I remember when I saw the trailer, I was like, what is this? But it was like, no, we've seen so many versions of the exact same thing. And I love Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor, but he's playing Lex Luthor in Smallville pre like full on, right? Lex Luthor. So he gets to do things that are different and have this different level of depth. But I thought, what would a villain like that be like in this era, in like the early aughts? And it was kind of the social network vibe, like Facebook vibe. Like that is the vibe of what that kind of person would be, like venture capitalist, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Silicon Valley, like this is the vibe. And I thought that that was a bold choice, and I think it mostly paid off because he is so good at playing that type of character. So I'll be interested to see what Nicholas Holt's interpretation of that kind of person and who that person would be in 2024. Because aesthetically, he actually looks a lot like Jesse Eisenberg. There's not a big departure. You know, you're not casting someone who's like older and bald, right? You know, you're casting someone who's not too far apart in age, also kind of like generically handsome build. So I'll be curious to see what the differences are and the angle he takes for sure.
I haven't seen the extended cut, although I do own it, of Batman versus Superman. I didn't cry at it, but there were a lot of parts I liked in it. And what I really like is the fact that you and your friend were at the same. I love how two people can have so many things that they have in common, but movies are always seem to be the one thing that people that can be divisive for people. People take in movies so differently, like, and you can pick almost any movie and
yeah, sure.
two people will, you know, unless it's some classic movie that everybody loved. And I'm sure you could still find somebody that didn't care for it, but movies seem to be things that really divide people. And I think one reason I don't like doing movie reviews with the last movie review I did with like Lou and Riley on Omnibros was the Scarlet Witch Goes Crazy movie, Multiverse of Madness or whatever it was.
Yeah, the Doctor Strange movie.
Doctor Strange movie, yeah. Because those guys both knew to. I think there's a point where you can know too much about movie making and maybe the director's previous movies, which is why I only took one movie class in college, and I'm glad that I only did one. I know to look for the color red when when they're supposed to be the establishment of anger in there. I'm like, okay, that's what I took from that class, and that's all I want. Especially with like Very Fine Condition, and I always go back and forth with each other. I'm like, because he's so critical, like it lost me in the third act, or my daughter and I rolled our eyes during the second part. I'm like, and he's kind of jealous, not jealous, but I think he's envious of the fact that I let movies just wash over me.
Sure.
And I don't look for things. I just go, oh, I enjoyed that, or that was okay, or whatever. I don't take it apart frame by frame. And that's what Lou and Riley did with Multiverse of Madness. They knew too much of Sam Raimi's horror roots.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, that's a Sam Raimi thing when they're pulling the harps back and throwing notes, physical notes at each other to tear each other apart. I was like, that was so cool. And they were like, that's a Sam Raimi thing. And I'm like, that doesn't make it any less cool. Why is that a negative? It was Boss. And when he possesses his dead corpse on Earth, whatever it was, and goes to stop Wanda, they were like, oh yeah, that's a Raimi thing. I'm like, well, okay. What, you guys know too much. I think you guys know too much about movies that you can't just enjoy them. Just let them wash over you. And that's me with movies and any TV show. I just let them. Well, and comic books too. That's why I don't do really deep depth reviews. Mostly my opinion is this thing was fun, I enjoyed it, or it wasn't for me, I don't recommend it. That's really how it boils down. I don't and the minister and I used to always say that I was always floating on the top of the ocean and just letting things kind of wash over me and he'd get on the scuba suit and go for the deep dive of what he didn't like and stuff. And like, I'd rather be on top of the ocean and just enjoy it, the moving back and forth. And so I think you can somehow but everybody's different. So that's just how I enjoy media, I guess, is I don't go super into it.
I also think that adaptations and existing IP, when those are out, those are the most divisive because people have a pre-existing relationship to those characters, how they're predicted, or if it's existing IP, like, well, that same friend actually, and he was right in the end. We also both saw The Last Jedi together. He's a massive Star Wars fan. This is the one I saw Batman v Superman with. And when Last Jedi ended, he was crying, and I was like, I hated that. And later, I've rewatched The Last Jedi, and I liked it considerably more. I got behind it. Like, I just needed to watch it again. I waited a whole year before I watched it again. We both did not like the last movie at all. We both struggled to find things we liked about the last movie. But same thing. Like, I think what I was looking for was totally different. I was not raised on Star Wars. I didn't watch Star Wars until college. He grew up with it. So his attachment to how certain things go down or how they're portrayed is very different than mine going into that. Or like with comic book adaptations, like there are some I see where I've never read the original material and I'm like, that was super fun. And the other person is like, picking apart everything. I think both experiences are valid. And I think obviously you'll get the most if you can do both. If you can stay on the surface and wear the scuba suit, just depending on what the vibe is, that's great too. And I try to do that. I try to be like some movies, especially 80s slashers, I'm not looking to make an analysis. I'm looking for a good time. A good bloody time, that's it. I don't need to analyze this, but other things I like to talk through. But I think like you always say, it's just a matter of respecting different people like different things. You can, say what your critique is. And it's important if you love something to open yourself up to like hear how other people are experiencing it. But that doesn't have to change the fact that you loved it. But you don't have to shut down every critique somebody has because it doesn't align with how you feel. So you kind of have to, have that open dialogue and be respectful.
Right. And that's what does not exist in Star Wars fandom.
Oh my gosh. You're telling me, a woman in Star Wars fandom? I know. I know. It's horrible.
I don't venture, even though I'm on a lot of social media, I know to stay away from any, and it'll appear just in the chat. There's probably stuff in the chat already about Last Jedi or whatever. I'm still over here with the hot take button, so I'm not seeing the what the chat is saying. But like if you bring up Star Trek, people will just have moderate feelings. But if you bring up Star Wars, there's like no line between hate. Well, it's always hate. It's everybody loves to hate Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I will say, my daughter Kelly, I kind of feel bad for her because she's just not willing to watch any of the. I think Disney Plus has a ton of great Star Wars stuff on it, but she won't. I think she watched the first season of Mandalorian, but because of what, because she liked Kylo Ray so much, the fact that, you know, spoiler alert, they killed him in the end of 9. Um, she's held that against Star Wars, and I'm like, you're gonna have to let that go because there's so much cool stuff that's on right now on Disney Plus. You really need to see it. There's some really good stuff, and I'd be happy to watch it with you. No. I'm like, she's the same way with Game of Thrones. She won't even discuss Game of Thrones because of the last.
I align with her
episode.
on that.
I
We
think a
have
lot of
different
people.
Star Wars opinions, but I align with her on. Everyone is like, watch House of Dragon, watch House of Dragon, and I've actually read I can't remember if it's Blood and Fire or Fire and Blood. I always get it mixed up. But George R.R. Martin wrote the first part of the Targaryen history, and a piece of that is what House of the Dragon is based on. But I hated the ending of Game of Thrones so much that every time I think about starting it, and I love Matt Smith, I love all the social media clips of the interviews of the cast.
Wait,
and
you
I'm
love
like,
who?
Matt Smith is in House of the Dragon.
Oh, I only watched season 1 and 2 of
Game of
wait, what are we
Thrones.
talking about?
House of the Dragon. I thought that's what you were saying, is your daughter won't watch House of the Dragon because she didn't like how Game of Thrones ended.
Game of Thrones. Yeah,
Yeah.
I blanked on Game of Thrones. I was thinking Lord of the Rings for
Oh,
some
yeah,
reason,
yeah.
because I know it also has something on HBO that I haven't watched, whatever that is. I did like Lord of the Rings. But yeah, no way would she watch House of the Dragon. No.
So I do understand that. She probably, because this is pre the 9th movie. What was that one called? There's The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, Rise of the Skywalker. I blocked it out. I PTSD blocked that out of my mind. Whatever
I
that
think
was called.
that's probably I get it. There were things in there that I enjoyed, but put together, I was just like, what? Why? Okay, wait. No, let's not even.
Yeah, we would have a whole other stream.
Yeah,
about
we'll
this,
have a whole other discussion about it. But go ahead.
From what I have heard about her, I would say she would probably love Star Wars Rebels, the animated series. I know Freddie's trying to push that one on you. The first season is a little bit like Reed's. The first season is good. It's fun. It's great to meet all the characters, but it really doesn't like become what it's becoming until season 2. But it's 100% worth it. I think it's, in my opinion, it is currently the best completed Star Wars story. Like, that's just my opinion. And I'm emotionally attached to it because it was the first unique Star Wars story that I consumed on my own, because at that time I wasn't alive when the first movies came out, but also I wasn't a part of that until college. And so Rebels was the one Star Wars thing I sort of like found on my own and watched to completion. But I genuinely think it is one of the best Star Wars stories of all time. I also love Andor, and I'm very excited for season 2. But the first 4 episodes of that first season are incredibly slow. So I understand why so many people jumped off. But Andor has the potential to unseat Star Wars Rebels for me, depending on how it ends, because it's just really good. I'm very excited for season 2 in the spring.
I haven't seen Andor, and I haven't. Ahsoka is what Freddie's given me the spreadsheet on to find out Ahsoka's place in the animated universe. He hasn't. So it's Rebels, and then what's the other animated one? Star Wars.
Clone Wars. He probably put on some Clone Wars. That's where her character was introduced, was Clone Wars.
Oh, okay. He's got Rebels and Clone Wars and in the spreadsheet, and I have it right in front of my apparently ancient 2014 television that has cable connections that even Jake, who worked in a Best Buy and couldn't identify. Because I was trying to hook it up to my speakers, and he was like, "I don't think you can do it. I don't even know what those letters stand for on that cable." So yeah, I do want to see that, and because I did love Ahsoka in Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed how what is it, Rosario Dawson. I really enjoyed how she played her, and I love that particular 2-episode arc, or maybe it was one episode. I can't remember. 2-episode arc. I really enjoyed that. So I do want to see Ahsoka, but he says and everybody probably agrees that I need some kind of grounding in who she is.
And you need to watch a lot of Rebels, I think, for the Ahsoka show to be worth it, because it really is about those characters too that we're in.
Okay. I know I'm way behind here. Oh, hit that like button, peeps. Thank you.
Yeah, let's catch up on people's Lex Luthor feelings. I'm sure it's all positivity.
Now here's something I am not going to watch, because I felt the one season for me, I loved it. Omnicat forced me to watch it, and it was one of the best things she's ever forced me to do. I haven't seen, and James will start in on me about how I need to see Stranger Things season 3, because she's very adamant that I would enjoy season 3 and season 4 of Stranger Things. But I felt like Squid Game ended just fine. I got everything I wanted out of it, unless somebody comes up, because it had a bunch of, it had just enough loose ends, but it also had ends that got tied up at the end, that enough loose ends got tied up that I was satisfied, and there were enough loose ends left that I was like, yeah, okay, I'm fine if they leave it like this. That's one of those things that I'm kind of worried if I start watching it, it's going to wreck the first season for me, because I thought that first season, especially that freaking first episode, was just remarkably shocking and amazing. Did you see this first season of it?
Yeah, I have similar feelings to you. I'm excited to watch season 2, but I agree with everything that you said about season 1, about it feeling fulfilling to stop at that point. I've heard some teases that I won't spoil for anyone, obviously, that do make me interested to see the new things they're doing in season 2, but I'm not rushing to watch it right away. But yeah, it was really good. That was one of the biggest surprise. Whatever year that came out, it was probably one of the biggest surprises for a lot of people, because I really think it took off from word of mouth. It's not like it was a project that was highly anticipated and it just took off like wildfire. And it brought a lot of people. I noticed a ton of my friends who don't like science fiction or horror, like they're just not drawn to that. And I don't really know how to put Squid Game in a box exactly. Those two words do apply to it, but
you're right.
But they were like into it because it was a thing. It reminded me of Game of Thrones in that way. A lot of people who don't love fantasy, really, maybe they watched the Lord of the Rings movies in theaters a long time ago, but that's not their normal jam, got so in for Game of Thrones. And I love that, because I do miss like the 90s and early 2000s and previously, but I was too young to know, where we had like appointment television that we would talk about as the episodes came out. We really lost that. And Squid Game did come out all at once, but it did replicate that sort of like, oh, everyone's watching this, we're all chatting about it. And I really liked that aspect of it.
Now here's a question that I wanted to ask you. Have you finished Arcane?
No, but I finished my season 1 rewatch right before my parents came, because it had been so long. And so I'm actually hoping season 2 to watch that maybe New Year's Eve, the weekend after New Year's, actually the 4th, when you're doing your show. And this is why I couldn't join. I am binging season 1 of Severance with a friend that loved that show. It's the Adam Scott Apple show. Got great reviews. I just missed it. And so we're doing that on the 4th. We're watching a few episodes, taking a break, in anticipation of season 2 coming out very soon. So I'm pretty pumped for that. But somewhere in that limbo week, I hope to finish Arcane season 2. Did you finish season 2? And is it not the greatest thing of all time?
I was trying to think what else I watched this year that I loved. There was something earlier this year. James will know what it was. I can't remember what I watched.
James, just crawl into my brain real quick and pull out that file.
But Arcane, whatever. I'm trying to think, because I don't see a lot of episodic TV like that.
Yeah.
But man, did I consume arcade. I stayed up way too late. I don't get good sleep if I go to bed past 1 a.m. I try to get in bed a lot earlier, but I stayed up till 2 a.m. Saturday, a few Saturdays ago, finishing it. That thing's a remarkable achievement of television. I'm sorry that it costs so much and Netflix won't do anymore. I also understand that.
I think they are doing a spin-off though of I think there are more stories set in that universe that Netflix will tell, but it's with, they haven't announced who it will be, but it'll be some new characters to the TV universe and then some that were in Arcane. I don't think any of the main characters in Arcane will make an appearance, but yeah, I think they're doing more. I don't know if it'll be the same animation. James probably knows. He can let us know. But there are more stories in that world planned, and I'm very excited about that.
I feel like season 2 was just as great as season 1 was. Season 2 is even better.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, I don't like it when people, I don't like to listen to people's opinions on whether or not it nailed the ending, because then it might inform me like, oh, they nailed the ending. And I see it and I think, did they nail the ending? I'm not sure about that. But especially if they say, oh, that ending was garbage, then I'm going to be really disappointed watching it, because I'm already that's why I don't like knowing ahead of time what people think of certain books or anything.
So you haven't watched the finale yet?
I have, and I loved it.
Okay, you loved it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to ruin it for you by saying I loved it. Yeah, they nailed the ending. I thought it was brilliant.
Great. Yes.
I thought the whole show was brilliant. Oh, here's Kenny. Nice, Kenny. Good to see you. Jinx.
Once we started talking about that trailer, I was like, we sent some signal through the ether for Kenny to arrive. And he heard it, and he had a watch, actually. We were like, come here, it's time to talk Superman.
Right. Earth 2 Jess, also during that stream with Bunk, we learned about our Christmas cards. Who did those? That was Back Cato that did those. Back Cato. This is what happens in my Discord. Back Cato did a bunch of Christmas cards with me and Bunk, or Bunk and I. Christmas cards with me with Bunk and me. That were plays on the Step Brothers, the famous Step Brothers poster.
Yes, portrait, yeah.
And they are really funny, bordering on disturbing, but they are very funny. I think grounded is a word James Gunn keeps using when describing what he's going for with the world of the new DCU live action streaming series.
Yeah, and you can be
grounded. That's where I know him from. Okay, excuse me. Sorry, Jess. Okay.
Yeah. No, you're good. Yeah, he was Beast.
Okay.
He does not age, because I've been seeing him for so long. He was also in this great zombie romance movie.
Zombie romance?
Hold on.
I want to see it. A zombance?
It was really fun. I think it was the first thing I saw him in. It was called Warm Bodies from 2013. And I swear he looks exactly the same today as he did in 2013. I don't know what his skincare routine is, but I would like to know it.
I need to know it.
But yeah, I think I'm glad you said this, Johnny. I think a mistake that some of the Snyder movies did was that grounded doesn't always mean only depressing. And I do feel like there are some moments of levity. Obviously, I enjoyed the movies. I'm not tearing them down. And there's certainly heartwarming moments in the Snyder interpretations of Superman. Absolutely. But I think it should also be a little fun sometimes. And you can be grounded and fun at the same time. And a lot of interpretations these days they fall into one category or the other, and it's like you can do both. In fact, there's a lot of room to play around kind of in the middle. So I hope we get a good balance of those things.
Yeah. Well, the fact that crypto's in it, I think made everybody just ecstatically happy. Like how can this not be great if he's using crypto in it, and crypto's so awesome already? I just, yeah. Gene Hackman is one of my least favorite Lex Luthor. Yes. Rosie Michael, I never saw Smallville,
Michael
so I
Rosenbaum.
apologize.
Yes.
Yes. Voice of Lex Luthor is great. Okay. I do love, and unfortunately we lost him, the voice of Lex Luthor in the Harley Quinn series.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of his name, but he was also important in the Horizon Zero Dawn games. That he was, I loved him in Harley Quinn. Breaking news. What is that? Oh, what I had to say about.
Oh yeah, it was when you came out as thinking Jesse Eisenberg is evil, which was
Jess is
honestly
right.
the hot take. That was a very extreme piping hot take.
I don't know that I'm a. Oh, is this?
I think it's
Snyder
about when
bro.
I said I liked Batman v Superman. I'm not a Snyder bro. Like I said, I'm not writing to Warner Brothers. Like, give me more. I'm kind of like, I thought those movies were good. They were so divisive. I've just never, honestly, of all the we mentioned Star Wars. I think that takes the cake.
Yeah.
But of my lifetime watching discourse, absolutely the Snyderverse was the most divisive nerd thing up other than Star Wars. I think. I can't think of a single thing that was that divisive, that the people that loved it went so hard for it, like, and then the people that hated it just thought there was nothing of value, loved poking at it, like got glee from making each other mad. Like, that was crazy, and everyone just needs to calm down.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call
also,
myself a Snyder bro. No.
I will say, if you want to call me a Snyder bro, I am in the fact that I thought the Justice League director's cut was miles better than what ended up being released in the theater.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
I mean, I saw that movie with a friend of mine who, he's older than I am, but he grew up on DC Comics, and I was having to explain some things in it, and I just left and I said, gee, I feel like we really didn't see much of anything there. It just wasn't. But what I liked about the Snyder cut, and I don't want to, dwell on this too much, is that every character got, like, we learned a lot more about the Flash and stuff like that. And I still haven't seen the Flash movie that leads into. I mean, I own it and I still need to see it, but I need to finish. I still haven't finished something that is important for me to see, the Flash movie. But I liked I am a Snyder bro because I like the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yeah, I have this memory. I watched that movie, the Snyder cut, with Wonder Maddie over like the stream. Like, we were streaming it at the same time and chatting. And I remember getting the end and feeling the same way. It was better than what was in the theater, for sure. Like, I nothing is truly objective, I guess, when it comes to art, but it feels like objectively so, I would say.
Yeah.
It was
okay.
better. But I told her it still felt, what I would have wanted once I saw what he did was, like, honestly, this should just be a mini series. This should be a mini series where each of them gets a really significant amount of time, and then they come together, kind of like when I read this year for the first time the Paul Dini, Alex Ross superheroes collection.
Yeah.
And they each had their own story. And then actually that Justice League story that's at the very end of that is really great. It's, I think, one of the best Justice League stories I've ever read, to be honest with you. Not to be hyperbolic, but something like that was possible. And at that point, like, why not just do it? You know what I mean? Like, I know they only could work with what they had filmed, but I told her it's weird because I've never felt so lukewarm on a piece of media and then been like, but what I wanted was more, actually. Like, it was sort of a weird feeling at the end. I'm like, I don't want to voice that I want actually a mini series of this, because I don't want someone to write the WB and be like, we need a mini series of this. So, but it was better than what was in theater.
Bunk is here. Good to see you, Bunk. Johnny really liked Batfleck.
Yeah.
Batfleck. Yeah, I liked
Agreed.
Batfleck a lot too. I'm afraid no live action Superman has been soups for me.
Sure.
Or if the Superman was okay, I didn't care for the CK. This new guy seems promising though.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
true. Like my favorite Clarks are not always my favorite Supermans, even though they're played by the same actor. And I think the one who does it best is Christopher Reeve. Like I like both of those when he's Clark and when he's Superman. But it's
mm-hmm.
true. Like if you really ask me, I'd be like, this is my Clark or this is my Superman. So I want someone who can do both well, and I hope that this guy is it.
I do want to see Superman and Lois. I've only seen the first
Oh,
episode, and it
wow.
was good enough that I was like, okay, I need to see more. But that was like 2 years ago, and I do
I
need to.
like his interpretation a lot. I didn't love
Yeah.
the show, but I really liked him. I think he could do both well. Yeah.
Doug is here. I tend to find something I like in almost everything. That sounds like me. Or if it helps, I like bad, cheesy movies also. Well, there's a
Same.
place in my heart. My movie buddy and I like really, really bad movies like Samurai Cop and The Room and stuff like that. We really love those kind of movies. Merry Christmas, you guys. Merry Christmas to you, Cody.
Yeah, you too.
That's a Sam Raimi thing as a positive. Those guys are nuts, right? Yes. Yes, that is annoying. Just because you can expect it from a director doesn't take away from something being enjoyable. Okay, yes, the chat is on my side.
This is like our last stream, I think, that when you came out as loving Hugh Grant, when you were like, I'm not a big fan of Hugh Grant's. He always, and then we named a bunch of movies. You're like, I guess I love Hugh Grant. It's like, that's what we can expect from him, and he does it well. And now he's doing new things. So, yeah.
Yeah, and is it heretic or heretic?
I say heretic.
Heretic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor in the trailer reminded me of something straight from the pages of a Loeb and Sale Soups graphic novel. I really liked it. The Last Jedi was the only good movie of the sequel trilogy. Okay, that's a statement, and it's an opinion. I will let. I liked the first one,
The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, yeah. But I loved The Last Jedi, and I wished, and I will not stay on this very much, but that Last Jedi set up so much that could have made the last movie if they had just, but he just threw everything out, and it was a big bush of and if they had just followed up on Rian Johnson's, it would have been great. I actually own the holiday special, so
wow, nice.
I know. I own the despecialized movies. A good friend that I actually haven't heard from in a while sent them to me as a gift, and the despecialized ones are like the original ones, but in 4K, which is great.
Oh, cool.
I enjoyed Rogue One. I loved Rogue One, and so that's what is Andor. Well, I guess it must be a prequel to that.
Yeah, actually, he's the ghost of Christmas Pat. No, I'm just kidding.
I would have believed that.
Andor follows him leading up. It's supposed to go right up to where Rogue One starts. Season 1 is over like a condensed period of time, or over a specific period of time, and season 2 is supposed to be where it's going to do multiple years, I believe, like 3 or 4 episodes chunks of the years leading up, if that makes sense. So instead of covering a couple months in one season, it'll be like a year, fast forward a year, whatever, something like that. It's really good. I mean, I think if you liked Rogue One or loved Rogue One, you definitely should watch Andor. Just know that the first 4 episodes are very, almost painfully slow the first time you watch through. I think you get more out of it when you rewatch it, because you know some of those characters. Now you can look for certain things they're setting up. It's very meticulously set up. It feels wildly authentic when it comes to how actual rebellions and resistances are built and warfare. Like, it's very grounded, to take our word from earlier. And I think that's what people liked about Rogue One. It was like very much had a more adult tone to the themes it was doing and the kind of storytelling, and Andor absolutely takes that and really runs with it.
Now, here's something important. I like this. I got a Crate Joy DC box of goodies, a Flash backpack, Suicide Squad scarf, the Green Honey the green honey keychain, the green green honey keychain, and an Amazon exclusive Funko Pop vinyl
Oh,
2
this is
back
nice.
of glow in the dark Riddler and Two-Face.
Cool.
That is okay, whatever.
Max trying to make a joke. Start a fandom war.
Yeah. I don't want a Darth Maul film, but good for you, Elon. I have no idea if you're serious or not. I don't ever know if Elon's serious or not. When Kylo took his mask off, I was shocked. Put it back on, bro.
That's funny.
My daughter and her best friend, I think, have we talked about her best friend before that's obsessed with Adam Driver?
Yeah.
To the point of like, we're sort of worried about her. She, first of all, she's like a second daughter to us. If only we could see her more. She was in New York for her internship for a law degree, and she was within walking distance of whatever Adam Driver play this was. And she, not only did she see the play 18 times.
Oh my gosh.
But she would always go to the, apparently Adam Driver was very cooperative and very friendly and very fan friendly. He'd go out the back door, take pictures, sign autographs, do whatever. And his security team ended up knowing her.
Wow.
Knowing her so well that they were like, okay, people, this is how it's going to go. Oh, I don't want to give her name. Oh, blah, blah, blah. What order do we do this in again? And she goes, well, you do this, this, and this. Oh, that's right. Okay, thank you. So they got to know her, and she's so genuine and sweet that I can only assume she didn't come off as a stalker. I don't think she ever made brownies for him or anything, which is, you don't want to eat stalker food. So I think that what surprises me is how much of a crush these two girls, my daughter and her friend, have on Adam Driver. I'm just like, I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it, man.
Yeah, it's definitely I don't fall into this category. I think he seems like a really good guy from what I can tell from the outside. Actually, I think the actor seems great, but I get it. I just don't fall into that bucket. But I see, especially his portrayal, I think there is a sector of young women, especially today, that are really into like, oh, he's just deeply misunderstood. And I don't mean to say that with a certain tone, but it's like to each their own. You know what I mean? Like that's your trope. I was not a huge fan. I think his character was good. Obviously he does something in the first movie that really angered me. I cried. I was like weeping.
When he took his mask off?
No.
As Bo is saying. Put it back on, bro.
But I think he was well cast, and I think I got the character. I just didn't love the trajectory at the very end. There were choices made that I think could have been done differently and would have felt more bold, but in a different way, I think, than your daughter. I think I was upset with a different thing than your daughter was upset by, but we were both upset. And that's what brings us together in Star Wars, is when we all universally were like, that wasn't great.
Something universally upsets us.
Like we can all agree that was not the best.
Also, this is my Omnicat substitute host, Jess, Earth One Jess. The only reason I'm showing this is because Max thinks he's funny. Yes, is that it abbreviates to Hot D. I loved Hot D and want more. Okay, you guys. Here it is. Rogue One. Feels like it was made by a fan. So I'm just gonna say that sounds like a good thing.
Yeah.
Millie Alcock is going to be a great Supergirl Kara Zor-El in the DCU. She will have some tough shoes to fill. Yeah, I know you love Melissa. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Okay, right. Also has a poignant message on war. War is bad. Yeah. Rogue One. The both Storm and Clone Wars.
Yeah, sure.
Stranger Things is so good. I think that's another one that started on word of mouth because
Oh yeah.
that thing grew on its own. I remember a friend of mine back when it came out was just saying, you guys should watch. This was back when the Facebook group was really popular. And he messaged a group of us, you guys should watch Stranger Things. It's really cool. I'm like, oh, okay. And you PM'd me on what? Let's see. Messenger, I hope, because that's the only one that oh, are you sure? Are you sure about that? That's a prediction. Latecomer
Let's
to
hope.
Stranger Things and really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Severance. Oh,
Yeah,
Creature
I'm excited.
Commandos. I did like that. I watched the first 2 episodes. I did love Kite Man, hell yeah, but I don't. Okay, we're back to Arcane. All we know is they're making Arcane spinoffs and nothing else. But I don't think that was the thing I loved so much though. I don't, as much as I liked Kite Man, I don't feel like I put it up there with Arcane.
No.
Is that 3 Cupcakes? Here's my
So.
Discord again. Thank you. Warm Bodies.
Yeah, you should watch it, Jet. I mean, I have not watched it since it came out, and I'm a different person than I was a decade ago, but I remember thinking it was super fun and underrated.
That's a movie that Nicholas Hoult was in?
Yeah, the zombie romance.
The Zombants, right. Okay. Lance Reddick, right. Heretic was awesome. I like the Snyder. Hey, Rami, I like the Snyder films, but I didn't rave about them. Not publicly, right? It's dangerous. Yeah, this is where I really, really loved him. I thought that was his pretty much the greatest role he's ever played. Paddington 2. Literature and Pictures is here. What up, dude?
Hello.
Hugh Grant is in the best period of his career at the moment. Now here's Hayden. Hello to the Jesses of the multiverse. Hope you both had a good week. We did.
Hayden, have you finally watched I Know What You Did Last Summer so that we can chat about it? Please report back.
Earth 2 Jess. Did you ever get the Barbie signature Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn? I did not. But what I did get, I showed last night, and I still. Oh, I can show you 2 things that I got for Christmas. What's his name? Max. Max got this also, and this is something that I bought and gave to my wife and said, "Put this, give this to me, please." And because I always forget, I just give them things and then I open them like, "Oh yeah," and they were like, "Who is this?" And I. Why
and
did
you were like,
want
that's Miss Frizzle. She took kids on field trips through bodies.
I said, okay, well, this is Jean Grey and the Phoenix Force. They lasted about 10 to 15 seconds before I was like, okay, it's really cool because the bird comes with her and she's got 2 head swaps. And they were like, oh, now we see why you like it. When I went into an explanation, I was like, why am I telling these girls that? They don't understand anything I like. The other thing I got, and I'll try and hook it up today. This was half off on Big Bad Toy Store. This bat signal lights up.
That's cool.
The artist is Ivan Reis. Somebody, if somebody can help me with the pronunciation of that, because I never say artist names right or creators' names. But yeah, this thing plugs in and then it's battery operated. Or no, I think it's just battery operated. Where maybe it. I feel like it does plug in though. But yeah, I'll. This will give me something to post on Instagram and Blue Sky. Oh, here's Prime. What up? I enjoyed your covers video. I also came across some Harley Derek Chew covers just yesterday.
Cool.
Do you collect any of his? I do. It has to be the only person that I'm going to collect every Harley cover of is going to be David Nakayama. Um, I do like some of Derek Chu's covers. I'll look at the cover, and if he's the artist, I have to like the pose and what's happening in it. And if Derek Chu happens to be the artist, then yeah, but I don't follow him specifically, but he's great. Rich is right. The SNL, have you seen the SNL Undercover Boss sketch with Kylo Ren?
No, but
Oh,
I need to watch it.
the first one is worth watching.
Oh, that reminds me. I'd like to make a plug. I have not had the best comic book reading year. I have to say, I'm looking at my own top 10 for myself, and they're all good. I like my top 10, but I had a lower number read than I usually want. And in my top 10, there's probably only 3 that I'm like, oh, I would rave about these. And so if people have something, a collection that's complete, or a single like graphic novel story that they would like to recommend that they have loved in the last maybe 3 years, like your number 1 or 2, or a hidden gem, please drop those in the chat, because I'm really trying to love more before the end of the year. I don't want to end on this kind of mid note. Nothing that's an ongoing that is not finished. I don't want something like that. I want something that I can like binge the story. So wanting to make a plug.
Did you? Oh, sure. This is great. I'm happy to help you just right now. But is this stuff you can read that you want to order physically, or it's available on Hoopla?
Well, unfortunately, even though my library rules, we don't have Hoopla.
Oh, that's because your library rules.
We have a lot physically though, yeah. So something that's already out, I don't want to like buy a ton, or if it is something like maybe under $20 type buy, that's fine. But yeah, if it's something that been out for a bit, it's probably in my library circulation, and they do have a lot. I would love those recommendations.
Well, my number 1 pick, which will surprise no one until I read Grimm. Grimm is supposed to be great by Stephanie Phillips. I'm going to try and read it this week. Is the Mind of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
I think I've shown you that. It's going to be my number 1 book unless something I read this week takes its place. But I also heard Peter and Freddie both raved about Grimm, and I've heard other people rave about Grimm, and I don't know who puts that out, but that should be available.
Okay, yeah, that's
from your
good.
library. So, but that I'm not sure if that's an ongoing or not. But I
can look it up.
I think it's very readable.
Okay.
Do you like Moon Knight at all? Or do you care?
Fine.
No? Okay.
Fine, yeah.
Okay. I was going to send you, because I upgraded to the omnibus. So I was going to say, if you liked it, I would send you my copies. His Jed McKay wrote a great Moon Knight and a great Death of Doctor Strange. Spoiler alert, Death of Doctor Strange. And then, of course, they rebooted it already. So there's new paperbacks, trades out. But oh wait, let me go to my okay, so let me respond to Bo there. Let me go to my Goodreads because I do have enough. You know what's really good, and Omnibo recommended this, is Something Epic. This has pushed its way into my top 2.
Okay.
There's 2 volumes of it. And they're 2 completely different stories, but in this world, imagination is real, and if you think about it, you imagine it, it can manifest itself and become real. And there are these people called epics that it can actually see it happening. Not everybody can pick up on it, but like the world is full of robots and superheroes and serial killers or whatever. And this one guy is sort of a savant that can see these things even better than anybody else can. And it's extremely well written, extremely well drawn, and has a wonderful since it's imagination. There's a lot of great supporting characters in this book, and this was Omnibo's best recommendation to me. I haven't read the second one yet, but you don't need to. It's not a continuation. You can just read volume 1 and you dig it.
Awesome.
Suicide Squad Isekai. Now I did like that, but I don't remember loving it. I did
Maddie
love
wants
it.
me to read that pretty badly.
Who wants you to see it?
Maddie wants me to read it. Or is it an adaptation, or is it just a manga, or is it a?
It's an anime that's on HBO. Yeah, and it's actually really, really good. Yeah. Clayface is the only one. They get transported to another world. The Suicide Squad does, and Clayface is the only one. Clayface is so well done. He's the one that recognizes they've been placed into an isekai situation where they're transported to another world, fighting some other world's battle. I wonder if that is the one that I loved. Yeah, I did laugh. He wants me to watch Squid 2. That's what he messaged me. Warm Bodies was hilarious and a good popcorn film. If I watch it today, that opinion would probably still be the same.
Now I want to rewatch it now that we've been talking about it. I remember really enjoying it, but I think I've only seen it the one time.
Hayden says, I have not yet. The trilogy box sits on my shelf, unwatched and unloved, and it's judging you.
All right, Hayden.
Jess, you should put the Black Widow head with the long hair on that Jean Grey. The heads that came with it look like Marge after the make-up shotgun. Gee, I don't really hate these heads. Black Widow head. Do I have James Max? Do I have that Black Widow? I feel like I have an Elektra head that's got really cool hair on it. Black Widow. I'll have to. Is that the one that came with the motorcycle? Safar is here. How's it going, Safar? No, this is where I draw the line on Harley Quinn. I don't consider that funny. I don't like bathroom humor. I don't think that's not going to be my cup of tea at all.
One time, Jesse Eisenberg told a bathroom humor joke, and that was the day a villain was born.
I realized he was truly evil.
Or Jesse Eisenberg will find this stream. Like,
check out Thud.
I wrote that down,
yeah. Chris has an amazing library, and he shows his hauls regularly in my Discord from his library. It's like 10 books I didn't even know existed or anything. So I would take his recommendations really strongly.
I think, Chris, were you the one who had recommended, and this did make my top 10, Ballad for Sophie?
I have that and still need to read it. I'm sure I got that from Chris.
So good, Jess. You're going to love the art in this book.
Unless I got it from Tony from Sweden, who will let me know if I haven't. Is it a European book that's translated?
I believe it was. Top Shelf is who does it here, Top Shelf Productions, but I believe it was, let's see, it should say translated by.
Yeah, then that was probably Tony that told me about it first. And don't start yelling at me, Tony. I can already hear you composing your email to me.
Yeah, I don't see who translation, Gabriela Soros, because the original title was Ballada para Sophie, Ballad for Sophie. Yeah, this is a great one. Now I'm giving a recommendation to people. But it
Awesome.
really was. I feel like it flew under the radar for sure, but it's beautiful and the art is really great.
I'll try and read it between now and the 31st. McKay's Doctor Strange wrapped up. I recommend all of that because of Bats alone. Bats is one of the all-time great characters. He's a ghost dog, and he's so great.
Yeah, my library should have those for sure, I would think.
Junkyard Joe. I do need to read this before the end of the year. That is a character from Geiger. It's a Jeff Johns, Gary Frank book.
Have I seen this?
I need to read that. I feel like
Wait.
Batmantha was the first one that told me about how much she really loved it, but now everybody's reading it and really digging it.
Hold on. I can't be. Who wrote it?
Which one?
Junkyard Joe?
Jeff Johns?
But James says it's an homage to Charles Schultz, and I'm looking at a book that is like a war saga book. Like it looks like it's a war book from 2023 by Jeff Johns. Is this the same book?
Yeah. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know. But it could be fun. Maybe it's fun and goofy or something, or
yeah,
maybe
James,
Snoopy's
talk
in
more
it.
about it because a war book isn't going to really sell me. So tell me
Oh.
how it's an homage to Charles Schultz.
I need to read this. This is a manga book that I actually own, Charles Schultz.
That's what I thought James was talking about earlier, because I have seen that one and thought about putting it in my cart multiple times, and my library does have that one, so I need to read it.
Well, we could read it together.
Yeah,
I could use a partner to help me with manga.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then I'll convince you to read Witch Hat Atelier because you will love it. And you will. I'm not trying to make you a manga fan, but I just think if you're gonna try something,
don't do this to me. What is happening? East of West. Do you like Jonathan Hickman?
East of West is on my list. I probably won't read it this year, but it is on my list to get to eventually. Yes.
Corgi, The Complete Tale.
What is that?
I think Kristen recommended this to me first, but then James has been pumping it too. Corgi?
This is so cute.
It is very cute.
Okay. Yeah, that looks cute.
Starman by James Robinson.
Read that. Yeah,
that's a classic. Muhammad. Hello, Jess and Jess. Earth 2 Jess. Did you read Dawn Runner yet? Only I haven't, but only because I just ordered it. It's coming in. I don't think it'll be here in time for end of the year, but I definitely want to read it. That's a ROM V1. Third Person by Emma Grove is great, but long and heavy, but definitely worth it.
Okay.
Johnny has been asking me this for 5 years now. Jeff Smith's Shazam, The Monster Society of Evil. No, I have not read it yet. But I will. I promise.
This is a good list. Die is the only one I haven't read.
Have you read? These are this one. Yeah, this is Andrew. This is a really good list. The only one I haven't read is Die, and I read the first trade, and I sent it to Maddie because she's more of a board gamer than I am, and which I mean to say I'm not a board gamer. I felt like she could get into it more. Earth One Jess, you were correct about the Gen Z vibe from Honora. I watched it. It's extremely Gen Z.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. But
is Gen Z after you?
Yeah, I'm a millennial.
And so Gen Z after you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like very squarely a millennial. Meaning there's a bunch of younger millennials that are younger than me before we get to Gen Z. So I feel quite separated from them.
Yeah, I think that you and my daughter and Maddie are all kind of right in that millennial age range. Is Honora a horror film?
No, someone said it was a black comedy, and so that's what I'm going to call it. It's like a dark comedy, but I actually haven't seen it, so I have no idea. I just thought the trailer looked too Gen Z for me. I'm just not cool enough to watch it.
Okay.
That simple. Yeah.
I still have so much to read before you even get it. Oh yeah, triangle years, our topic. I will before I will finish getting caught up in the chat, but I will say after reading what we just read that I was not aware that this leads right up to the triangle years. There's a lot of things referenced in what we just read that makes me want to, after I'm done with triangle years, go right to this because I haven't read this since it came out in floppies. So but this goes right up to the triangle years. So speaking for myself, I'm going to go to this next as far as the next omnibus I'm going to read once I'm done with triangle years, because there's so many references to stuff that happened. It doesn't keep triangle years from being enjoyable, but there's a lot of stuff that did happen there. You have that Black Widow, I'll DM you. Okay, thank you. I definitely plan on watching I Know What You Did Last Summer sometime before the 4th comes out.
Yeah, we actually we don't consider the 3rd one as a movie that ever existed, Hayden. So you can just, I love those movies. They're not good. They're bad movies. They're bad movies, period. But that was like my era of like teenagehood, and it was like all the stars at the time, and they're just fun summer blockbuster horror movies, I think. And I did read I was too young. I read a lot of R.L. Stine when I was younger, but I never read Lois Duncan, who wrote a lot of teenage horror books of that same vein, kind of like quick paperbacks that were probably at a Scholastic book fair. And I've been reading them now as an adult, and they are wild. But I Know What You Did Last Summer is one of those. And it was interesting to see, because that was written in the 70s, and there was a lot of Vietnam War stuff in it, how different the movie was. Both were enjoyable, but it was just like, that was really some creative liberties they made when they made that movie. But it was fun. I'm excited for the movie this summer for sure.
Rich has a good recommendation because I love this story.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I have read that.
Okay, good. Okay, that is so completely backwards that I don't even know what to say. Ballad for Sophie is great. The New Birds of Prey. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is really good.
I'm most caught up on I'm more of a DC reader, and I do have DC Infinite Universe or whatever. So those, I feel like I'm pretty caught up on.
Okay, I can highly recommend. Also, I can recommend Wonder Woman by Tom King.
I love that.
Okay.
You know, some of my closest friends who usually align in my Wonder Woman like thoughts haven't been enjoying it very much, and I've been loving it. And I can see some of the things they're pointing out, but I've been having a great time with it.
I loved it. I unapologetically love it. Oh, thank you, Safar. $5 super chat. Happy holidays, Jess and Jess. Just Earth 2. Any thoughts on Image Comics Rat Queens omnibus? Yeah, I have thoughts. I really enjoyed. I haven't finished it, but I read it in trades. But I didn't finish it. I own the omnibus. I just sold the 2 deluxes. I enjoyed it a lot. It's how do I describe it? It's they're what's the time period? I'm trying to think of. It's like a swords and sorcery type book where this group of women, the Rat Queens, they fight and they pillage and they right wrongs and they get bounty, and they're but there's one of them's an elf and one of them's like a barbarian, and I really enjoyed what I've read. I've read the first 2/3 of it. I don't know how it finishes. So if anybody out there has finished Rat Queens, I liked it enough that I got the omnibus. So and if anybody out there has finished it, they can let Safar, no. Thank you for the super chat, Safar. Chris, again, late to my favorite monthly Jess and Jess show. I hope you're all having a great holiday season and a happy new year. We are, I think. I'm having fun right now, which always matters to me. Junkyard Joe, it's that book.
Okay.
Yes, the character based on Schultz is a war vet who processed his army days through a Peanuts-esque comic strip.
Oh, okay.
Right. Anything after that is big spoiler. Okay.
Okay.
James going all next. Imagine not. Yeah, with a two-parter. Honora was amazing. Here's
James,
Jewish. Go back.
James, I don't believe you are Gen Z, James, if I'm correct. But I think you have a much more open mind than I do when it comes to media. And so I could see where you would appreciate a Gen Z, whereas I would be like, this is too much going on for me, I think. But I'm glad you liked it. It's getting great reviews, like really great reviews.
If I only had $1 for every time James said Honora was amazing. Okay, they're going back and forth. Oh, Jewish Dragons. How you doing? Can't really stay as I'm with family, but we'll hit the like and watch on Rewind. Family? You can see family anytime. You should be watching this show. It's only on right now. Oh, yeah, you can watch on Rewind. Okay. Pretty Woman, Runaway Bride, Black Comedy. If I can finish 4 books in the next 4 days, I will have read 900 this year.
Wow. That's impressive.
Whoa. That's amazing. That is remarkable. I feel like I hit my goal, but I don't. I set a goal arbitrarily just so I can keep track of everything. This year, I mostly followed the new Ultimate books. Okay, but Jess is more of a DC reader. Absolute books. Okay, that's a DC. And Energon books from the big 3 on a weekly basis. Everything else I read here and there in one go or something else. Current run of Transformers is really good. It has 2 trades out so far. Jessica, if you want a cozy slice of life manga, Hiro Yasumi is really fun.
Okay, I'll write it down.
Eric, welcome. Aster of Pan is a quick. I have that book. I feel like I read it with the Omnicat.
That's fun.
Oh yeah, that's the one that came with the ball. Sort of a young adult post-apocalyptic story with the Hunger Games-esque main plot, but it's dodgeball. Beautiful watercolor art. That was one where Kristen and I just had a mini rant about all the weird things that Kickstarters come with.
I remember that.
That one came with a styrofoam ball that like had a life of its own and would keep moving all over the place when I wasn't around. Yeah, everybody's impressed with Chris, as they should be.
Yeah. And you can do that. 4 books in 4 days. I think you can do that.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm actually caught up in the chat. That's disappointing, but okay. Should
we give our brief overview before we hop back into other things?
That's where we lose
of our topic.
That's where we'll lose half the chat if we actually talk about the book. But yeah, we read from page 500-ish to 807. So we read about 300 pages. And if I recall correctly, since I just finished it yesterday, it was a lot of Eradicator stuff.
Yeah. There was like
Go ahead.
The Red Glass trilogy, the Eradicator story were like the 2 big stories.
Yeah. Jess, how to join the Discord.
James, do you not have a PDF 1-pager that
James will put up the Discord actually in my description, Safar, if you go in my description to this, there's a link for it, and you just hit the link and join. He has a Google sheet on it.
There we go. See? Knew it.
Yeah, Safari, it's really easy. Just go to the description box of this video and I have a bit.ly link that will take you right to the Discord and you join from there. No, thanks, Jess and James. Okay, so the Eradicator comes back, spoiler alert, as an embodiment. It has a corporeal form, and it's extremely dangerous and deadly to Superman, because it wants, not only can it defeat Superman, but it wants to remake Earth into a new Krypton, and doesn't mind if it kills people to do it. So that was the one story. Now I'm trying. What was the other main story?
The other one was the Red Glass trilogy, which is where Clark, he's not sure if he's in like a dream or an alternate reality.
That's the
but
one that
there's
starts.
like,
Yeah.
there's a museum of dead villains, and it recounts that in April of '88 there was Superman's Day of Wrath, where he just decided to kill all of his enemies and leave the Earth. And so he's like stuck in this sort of alternate reality. He's not sure if it's real or not. And then there's tons of cameos. The Doom Patrol is randomly in this story. That was a real surprise because I definitely don't remember this story at all. If I read it, I do not remember it. But it turns out he was on a mission from NASA and was in space and encountered this kind of like glass. It actually kind of looks like kryptonite, like pinkish red kryptonite, but it's not. It's this kind of like being that's trapped. And he talks to the being about what he saw, and the being's like, yeah, I'm glad that you were able to see what your worst fears are, what you're capable of. And he like thanks the being. It's kind of a trippy story. Kind of interesting, but it rushes the ending, I think. There's tons of buildup with the alternate reality, and then it kind of rushes the ending. But it was still really fun, and the cameos were like, I mean, seriously, Martian Manhunter was in that. Firestorm. I mean, it was like Clark was as confused as we were. Like, why are you here? what's going on?
Booster Gold.
And then there's Jimmy Olsen has some really fun stuff actually in both of these stories, but in the hallucination, Clark runs into Lex, and it turns out it's Jimmy in a bodysuit, and it was like some really trippy stuff in that story. It was very fun.
Yeah. Here's the Red Glass.
Yeah, it was a cool design. It really reminded me, the way that was drawn, and then later panels with it reminded me of Watchmen a bit. Those scenes in Watchmen when is he on the moon? I'm trying to recall.
Yeah.
The way it's drawn and shown kind of reminds me of that, and the fact that it's kind of this big existential conversation he's having with the being. It reminded me a lot of Watchmen in that way.
Okay, I thought he was just a squash player played by Bruce McCulloch in Kids in the Hall.
Wow, that's a throwback.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah.
But any deep cut needs to be shown. So yeah, those are the two main storylines. And I enjoyed them both because this was the only time that was funny, when he created the big belly guy as a Kryptonian monument. That was pretty funny.
I have that as a note to ask you how you liked that part. It was interesting because, like, in the story, there are things that the Eradicator is doing that are obviously really dangerous, right? Because he's trying to create this perfect society. Then there are things you're like, oh, maybe that's not half bad. Like there's like 8 intersecting storylines. I feel like that Ma and Pa Kent are like on a cruise. Jimmy lost his job because of the economy, and every time it says it, it's like in parentheses the economy, which I thought was quite funny. They have a new boss at the planet. so much was going on in that storyline. But one of the random things that's in there is these tenants of a kind of slumlord-esque apartment are protesting. They're like, protesting the conditions. The landlord's not fixing things, and so the Eradicator just wipes out the apartment and builds this really immaculate one that's so immaculate that even the slumlord landlord's like, I'm gonna move in here. And Clark's like, you can't do that. And he's like, why? The people are happy. It looks good. And he's like, yeah, but you can't like just randomly interfere with the way humans work. So there were some kind of interesting like moments like that where you're like, well, maybe that wasn't half bad. Yeah, why doesn't Superman do that more often? You know, that I thought that was kind of fun, but it was a really interesting mix of things, mix of storylines in that story particularly.
And I enjoyed I always enjoy Professor Hamilton.
Yes.
And I enjoyed his helping Superman in the Eradicator storyline. And I also noticed that this seems to be modeled on a particular person.
You think?
Back in the 90s. And I thought it was funny.
Yeah, there was some fun
and
stuff.
that because that's Jimmy's job. He has to sling he's hash behind a counter as a because of the economy.
In parentheses.
Because of the economy.
Quotations,
quotation marks. Yeah. He has to become he has to work in a cafeteria. And they're doing a good job of making this new boss of the planet pretty hateful. So there's nothing good about him. And I forget, what is Perry just on sabbatical?
Yeah, he was. Remember, they had all that tension, which when we read Exile again, we'll remember why the son of Lex Luthor was also the son of Perry White's wife.
Which I don't remember at all.
We'll be learning the truth of that because both of us interpreted the conversation differently. But yeah, Foswell, the new boss, you can tell also has just a different set of morals. Like he's kind of into the fact that the Eradicator is just like killing criminals, and he's like, why? They're criminals. Like, why would we not want them there? And so he's not only cutting people, but also like he just has a different moral compass. And I think if I remember correctly, he's like, oh, I'm going to endorse the Eradicator or whatever. I'm like, okay. So yeah, he's kind of the worst. And there's a nice cliffhanger at the end of that story because Jimmy winds up getting a different job and learns a piece of information that, you know, will definitely come into play in a later story. I'll save it as a surprise if people have not had the chance to watch it. Also, randomly in this story, which was fun, there's a Pete and Lana are in this story.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Pete's a congressional staffer for a Kansas congressperson. He works in like agriculture, and there's a lot of intersecting stories in this one for sure.
I liked it because it gave proper directions on how to get out of the city using the Beltway and getting onto 66, which shows me that at least they I forget who wrote this issue. They did do some homework.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what I also, let's see, who wrote this? Roger Stern. Okay. So yeah, there were a lot of intersecting things.
Absolutely.
Jimmy struggles with all his different part-time jobs is my favorite subplot throughout this omnibus.
So far, my favorite subplot has to be for Jimmy when his mom walks out in on him, trying to make out with someone.
Making out with Lucy Lang.
That was amazing. And she's in this one very briefly because he's like, I lost my job. And she's like, I'm sticking by you. And I'm like, okay, I respect that. It was fun. Yeah. This era just does a great job. Even when the ending, maybe like the first story that we talked about, the Red Glass, the ending felt a bit rushed. I kind of wanted a bit more to bookend because we were kind of on this like real big acid trip, for lack of a better term, with Clark. And then I felt like it needed just a little bit more, not a ton more, but regardless of how the stories land or what have you, the strength throughout for me has definitely been that all these side characters feel so real. They have their own stories, and they do as best as they can with varying degrees of success of like weaving them into the big story, the monster of the week or whatever. And that has continued even where these two don't have as much slice of life stuff. They definitely have a lot more sci-fi type things. You still get that, and I think it's just sorely lacking in so many modern runs, like having that balance, and it's just really fun to read this.
Yeah. I was just looking at my books read this year. How do you feel about crime comics?
I haven't found any that I've loved.
Okay.
That's how I feel about them.
7 a.m. and every time I yawn and stretch, something cramps. I think I need to suck more energy.
And yet we're still waiting for James to drop the link for the black market energy share.
Okay. I wonder if you dig Ms. Tree. Ms. Tree. I have a video coming out on that series. Maybe you should watch that video. It's not long. I just put the books. The books were released out of order in a for a reason.
Okay.
But I wonder, you definitely can get it on Hoopla. Oh, you don't have Hoopla. I bet you can get it on DC. DC. Oh no, now Titan's publishing it.
Is it
maybe
MS?
Sorry?
MS dot
Ms. Tree, yeah, Ms. Tree. Mystery. So
yeah, the library has them.
It does? Maybe watch my video and see if it sounds I show art and stuff. I'll release. What's today? Saturday? I can put it out Monday.
Yeah, it's great.
I realize now it's too late to put out my Black Friday unboxing and hauls, since Black Friday was like 6 weeks ago or whatever it was.
People love hauls. I think people would still like it.
Okay. I do need to send it to Jake to clip off the last minute because it got botched. How about Secret Six Omnibus? Have you read that by Gail Simone?
I haven't read the Omnibus, but I read the trades as they were coming out because I've been a fan for a while. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, that was one of the first series I discovered on my own, actually, and I love it. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I don't own the Omni, but I actually prefer a chunky trade. Maybe it's blasphemy, but I prefer like a series of chunky trades or a nice like deluxe like library kind of size. That's my preferred format. So I'm good with my big trades, and I'm really glad it got an Omni because I think a lot of people didn't read it. Like it just went under the radar, and I've seen a lot of people be like, "Oh, this was great. I'm sad I missed this." And I was like, "Yes, it was fantastic."
That's in my top 5 for the year.
Yeah, that one's fun.
Okay, opinions are pouring in about my Black Friday video. Do it, Jess.
See,
post it. People will watch it. Just call it a holiday haul. I would still watch the Black Friday unboxing, even if it's late. You could dance with a mop, Jess, and I'd still watch.
Wow.
Okay, that's a video I'm going to post and see if you watch it.
You know what you need to do? You need to put on your Wonder Woman costume and reenact with the mop that scene from Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams and the vacuum. I think that's what we all need. That's the energy we need in 2025, frankly. It's what the world needs now.
Last week, after the Elon and Max tribute to me show, which was wonderful and unbelievable, we went to a very small party with 3 other couples that we do stuff with, and I was telling everybody about the show that Elon and Max had put together with all the nice compliments and stuff, and it led into when I dyed my hair pink for 8,000 subscribers, and when I dressed up as Wonder Woman, like because we raised $800. Omni Bros raised $800 for comic books for kids.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I showed that picture, like in this universe that we're in now, it's funny that I dressed up as Wonder Woman, which was the whole point of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it literally shocked two of the guys that, looking back on it, and actually maybe all three of the other guys were, the reaction people should have is to laugh at it.
Mm.
These guys didn't laugh at it. I could tell their minds were working like, I would never do that. What is wrong with this guy? How is this guy our friend? So, and
Wow,
I,
what's that? I'm sad for their inner child. I'm sad.
right? I don't think,
Yeah.
I think I have a much better inner child than they do. My inner child's my outer child. I'm just a child.
Yeah.
My other friend, who actually thought it was funny, calls me an
Mhm.
8-year-old with a driver's license.
There you go.
Jessica, you never saw the Multiversity? Okay, I can. I'll show this now. Let's see. Oh, hey, Kryptonite Kid, welcome.
Hello.
It's on Discord. Let's see. Where is that? In the clip show? Where do you have it, James? I think it's in. This is actually really funny. Let's see if I can find it here. Hulty. Just where did you post that in the Discord, James? Oh, here's Omnibo versus Drunk Omar. That's probably a good one. It's not in the clip show. James, where did you post that Omnidog Photoshop? Okay. Omnidog Photoshop. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's see. Oh, here's all the Christmas cards with me and Bunk too. That's some I'll show you that. This was really good. That James sent to Geo, and for the Omni Bros, when we were doing the Monday show where we say what the releases are for the week. And Geo said, hang on, here's the DM for Harley Quinn. And I said, oh, there's a DM for it. And he showed this thing that James made, which is pretty darn funny. I mean, I really laughed out loud at it.
Oh,
this is this is the back of it, but there's Wonder Woman. There's like this is 1985 velour shirt open to the chest. Jess, that is just crazy. And here I am hugging my Sentinel, and this is me at the beach when I first met Patty.
Wow!
But I thought this was a great one.
That is iconic.
Let me show you the let me get some of these Bunk ones, these Christmas cards the Bat Cato did. Wait. Okay. This is so great. I'll just show you the first one.
Oh wow.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see. I think Bat Cato made that. And then, yeah, Bat Cato did. And then here are a variety.
That's a great Photoshop.
Here's the mullet one. As you can see, Bunk and I are actually quite close.
Oh, very much so.
Look at that one. I actually like that shirt that I'm wearing. I don't know where. That's a very disturbing one. I don't know. See, these are really good. This looks I
still just see the Step Brothers one. Are you looking
at
a different one?
Oh, wait a sec. Oh. Okay, I see what I did wrong. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, let me go back to the beginning. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's because I opened it in browser. Let me. Okay. Do you see a different one there?
I definitely do.
Okay.
Wow.
Let,
Oh,
let
wow.
me show you another one.
You look pretty good with long hair.
Thank you. Are you seeing that one?
Oh, God, where you're like doing a Bob Ross. Yes.
Look at Bunk. Bunk looks so young there.
What are the fish in the background?
I think that is, it's like an aquarium wall
Wow.
decor.
Love it.
These are all courtesy of Bat Cato. Here's the punk rock one.
Oh, I'm uncomfortable. I don't know about that one.
Wait till you see the next one. I actually like my hair there. I wish I could get my hair to look like that.
You look like Albert Einstein in that.
Uh, this one's disturbing.
Oh, that's my favorite one.
That's your favorite one? Okay, this is the
Yes.
last one. These are all
Your
courtesy.
hair in that one looks like you're in the Jim Carrey Grinch movie. You look like a Who.
I've got a heart-shaped head of hair.
Yeah.
I think this next one is the most disturbing one. Because it looks so real.
Oh.
Bunk looks like Napoleon Dynamite there.
Yeah, he does. That is something
And
else.
if you notice, we're wearing different sweaters too. So
Yeah.
this is some effort that Bat Cato went through.
I like that one.
You like this one? Okay.
Yeah.
There's the
And
mullet.
yeah, I love your hair there.
And there's the first one. That was us as young lovers, I guess. I don't
I
know.
think so. Wow, that's really special. Absolutely. It's great.
Let's see. Kenny says we need more Supergirl collected editions, more omnis of these runs. Bronze Age, yes. Pre-New 52, yes. And her appearances in Superman Family Adventures. I'm looking forward to that New 52 Supergirl. I know not everyone loved it, but I liked it enough that I want that. And I really
Yeah,
want Red Lanterns.
I had fun. I just hated her outfit. But other than that,
Her New 52 outfit.
yeah.
What was that the one with the weird boots that went up?
Yes, there were weird boots. Do I have
She does always have kind of weird boots.
I don't have anything within reach.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we do. I agree with Kenny. We need more Supergirl, and yeah, much more. Didn't it have like a hole for her knees or something? The boots went up. They were like thigh high and had like knee holes.
Yes, and she had the weirdest. I'm gonna call it a bottom piece. I don't have a way of non-appropriate ways or an appropriate way of saying it.
I think
It was like the weirdest. I'm not gonna say what I call it. It's not appropriate, but it was like a choice was made, and I was like, "This is really strange." Actually, an old timey. Is this what this is actually called? Let me look.
Was it?
She had like a cod piece. That's what I'm gonna call it because I think that's the most appropriate way of saying it. Yes, that weird piece at the bottom. Why is that a thing? Yeah, that's uncomfortable. Yes.
Okay, you don't want to see it. Okay.
I hate it. It's so weird. It isn't even, for example, like obviously people sometimes like inside Superman underwear, outside Superman underwear. It isn't even underwear.
I'm just showing the
Because
knees. I'm just showing
yeah,
the
that
knees,
was
not the
weird.
cod piece.
But it isn't even underwear because it doesn't go around. It is literally just that part, and like a choice was made. And I just want to say, like, it was a weird choice. I don't like it. I hate it. Don't like that.
Okay.
But actually, some of those stories are pretty fun. I think that is a little, I won't say it's underrated, as in I think it's really good through and through, but I think it's underappreciated. And I
I
think it gets
agree. Yeah.
made fun of a lot, and it's really not that bad at all.
I
It's a good time.
agree. It's underappreciated. This was the Kotobukiya. These were really fun. The Kotobukiya action figures. I think I got them in 2017 or something. It's her chastity underwear. This is a bad comment.
Yeah, and that was a bad choice. It was. There isn't another. I mean, I think that's a good comment because there's no other explanation for what was happening there.
I think I have more. I should get the. I have like sets. Why don't I? Well, no. If you don't want to see it, then I don't. I don't want to.
No,
wreck
you
your
can-
day. We're having fun, and I don't
Yeah,
want
you
to.
can make an Instagram post about it. Other people can share their inappropriate names for it. I have
Right.
one of my own. So.
So okay, Storygraph and Fable. So I need to do that. Oh, I was telling you what other books. Did you ever read Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler?
Yes.
Okay.
Most of the. I'm trying to think if there's something DC that's like on my list. I haven't caught up with Poison Ivy. I have one, maybe 4 issues to catch up on. And I am excited for that. But that's kind of like ongoing, I've been loving it.
I just got the most recent hardcover, so I need to read that because I really am enjoying that Poison Ivy.
Yeah, it's a great
okay,
run.
so you don't really care about crime, and this is all X-Men stuff that I read. Inside the Mind of Sherlock Holmes, The Case of the Scandalous Ticket.
That's the Sherlock Holmes one you were talking about earlier? That's
Here's what the cover looks like.
Okay.
And the cover opens up. It's a cutout, and you see what the mind is, what his mind is up to.
Mm.
Actually, if you go to Very Fine Condition, just put out a video of, as he does at the end of the year, where a bunch of creators, YouTubers, mine's the last one, and that's the book I highlight, and I talk about it for 3 minutes. So
Okay.
you might want to watch that. It's visually incredibly impressive, and then the writing is just top notch. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
My books. Oh yeah, Inside. Out of the Blue. That's a war comic. Goiter. X Factor. No, you're not into that. Human Target. How about by Human Target by Tom King? You read that?
If it's Tom King, I've probably read it. Except for Everlasting Love. I haven't finished that. I read the first volume.
Yeah, I have a whole stack of Tom King that I haven't been through yet, and that's one of the things. Batman Under the Red Hood, the deluxe edition. Oh, you like horror. Do you like horror books, horror comics?
Yeah.
Did you ever read Dark Ride? It's about it's 3 volumes trade, which now that I got them now means a deluxe will come out. Joshua Williamson, and Lou from Omnibros is the one that hipped me to this. It's about a hell-inspired, devil-inspired theme park, where it's got a bunch of evil things happening like for real around it, and it's got a mysterious father who's created it all, and questions as to what happened to his first wife and how he actually created the theme park. And his kids' name are Sam Hain and Halloween, and Halloween is the woman, and she's like a social media star, and Sam Hain is the son, who's kind of seen as a layabout, but is trying to get his act together. Those and death start happening for real in the theme park.
Nice.
And there's a YouTube guy that is investigating it, and then other people start investigating it, and super horror, strange, sketchy things happen. And it's, I think, as much as you love horror movies and slasher flicks and stuff, I think you'd really dig it. It's an Image book.
Yeah, it looks like the library has the first volume out now. You said there were 3, I think.
Yeah, it goes
Yeah.
12 issues.
Perfect. Yeah.
Chris, is this the guy that wrote the book that I don't think Max is watching anymore. Is he the one that wrote the Miles Davis one that Max liked so much?
I think I was looking this up when I saw the comment. I've read Blue.
Yes. Okay. That was the
Enter the
Miles Davis
Blue.
one? Blue?
I don't. Was it about Miles Davis? When did I read this? Is this older? Let's see.
I haven't read it, so I don't know. But yeah, Max and Chris apparently really dug them. That was Max's choice for in that very fine condition collection.
Okay.
Was the Miles book. He also
Miles Davis is called Miles Davis and the Search for the Sound. It's a different one. Enter the Blue had like a woman trumpeter, if I remember correctly. And it was
that sounds
pretty good.
interesting to
I
me.
picked that up from the library.
I'm reading the Rick Veitch Swamp Thing book, and it's great so far. I feel like I feel like they've made an agreement with him that he's going to come back and finish his run that had the controversial Jesus cover that made him leave the book because they wouldn't print it. But I think now that it's 30 years later, 35 years later, they might be. I feel like that. Am I dreaming that, or am I trying to wish it into existence, or is somebody else? Does anybody else remember hearing that? He also wrote Chasing the Bird about Charlie Parker. Oh yeah, Max read that, and I love Enter the Blue.
Yeah, Enter the Blue.
I don't want to skip over this. I just realized that her cod piece.
Don't do it, Jess. Just look at it in your own hand, and you can confirm verbally.
I won't show it. I'm just Muhammad. I did.
Wow, it's so bad. Like, who made? I don't want to talk about it. Let's move on. I'm gonna get grouchy. Okay.
Oh no. We're celebrating. Let's see. Yeah, Dark Ride was great. Did you read Nice House on the Lake?
Yes, but I actually maybe more is out now. I read what's in the
the next one?
Yeah, I read the first I don't know how they're calling it. The first chapter or whatever. It was how many issues was that?
Is that the Nice House in the Woods, or what's it called?
No, it's still called Nice House on the Lake.
Oh, I thought
You're talking about the Tiny Inn DC
End of the
book?
World? Yeah.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh, I thought he went to a different name for the sequel.
Yeah, I haven't read the sequel yet. I've read Nice House on the Lake. Nice House by the Sea is the next
by
part.
The sea.
Cycle, that's what they're calling it. First cycle and second cycle. I've read the first cycle. Actually, last year I finished it. I had started it as it was coming out, and then I waited. But I have not read the second cycle. I also didn't know when I was reading the first cycle that it was not a complete story, and I remember being very frustrated by that. But I really enjoyed it for what it was.
Oh, by the ending? Because it's open-ended. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't feel like that as it was coming out, I don't recall it being pitched as like the first part of a story, and so I was expecting a conclusion and didn't get one. But I really liked it. I have heard from someone else. I think the whole second part is out now, right? Or most of it. Is that right?
Oh, is it? I don't pay attention to floppies really that much, except if they're things I want to buy for the cover. So I actually don't know.
Oh, I'll have to look it up. when it's coming out. I'll look it up and report back.
Okay. What are okay? These are all things you and I read together. Superman. Department of Truth. Did you read that?
It's on my list. I'm skeptical that I'll enjoy it, but that one has been on my list for a bit. I just have not gotten the energy to read it yet. It seems like it's going to be a little more involved than I have had the headspace for.
Oh. Okay. How about Night Eaters? You might want to.
Yes, I have read it. It was
Night
really
Eaters?
inventive. Yeah, it's just the first part that's out now, right? Is the Marjorie Liu?
First two, yeah. The first two books are out.
Have I read the second? Let me see. Oh yeah, I read the first two. I read both.
Okay, good. I just ordered this so far, The One Hand and the Six Fingers by Romvi. Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet though. Somebody's Killing the Children is a book I really enjoyed.
Same. Although so mixed. Some of the other stuff that comes out of that, where it's like House of Slaughter, and then there's another one too. It's really mixed on quality. I'm interested to see how that finishes up the main story.
Jessica, I don't know if you have read I Killed Giants or Street Angel, and they're good if you have. Oh, Cindy and Biscuit. That was something that Voracious Reader and Chris in my Discord were really high on. And Voracious Reader and I have very similar taste. So that's a book that I want to get too. So you may want to put that on your.
Yeah, I have read I Killed Giants. I thought it was fine. I wasn't super sold on it. Haven't read Street Angel though.
What's the new book that Kieran Gillen did? That's like a deluxe something giants, and the woman has a baseball bat with a barbed wire on it, or nails or something. It looks. Oh no, it's a hockey stick. It's new. I can't wait. Maybe it's on my wish list. Let's see, She-Hulk, but you're more of a.
I read She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, did you? Yeah. Rainbow Rowell? That's really fun. I really like that.
I'm having fun with that. I read the Marvel I do read is usually solo female titles where I don't need to know what's happening out in the rest of the world.
I really like that Rainbow Rowell one. Is this any good, Chris? We called them giants, or chat. Do people like them? Bat Cato's here. We called them Giants was really. Oh, we called them Giants was really good. Bat Cato, I just showed your magnificent, disturbing Christmas cards of me and Bunk. Thank you for that. But Chris didn't like it. Okay, Bat Cato liked it, but Chris did not, which shows that opinions are divided on it. So far, it's 1-1. I have read Wrong Earth. That's a lot of fun. Have you read that?
No, I haven't. I was just looking it up.
It's really fun. Very Fine Condition is the one that told me about that. Oh gosh, it's been so. It's a series now. They've got a bunch of things. I think that the premise is that there's two Earths. And one is like a Batman 66 type character, and the other is a Batman Dark Knight Returns type character, and they end up getting switched to each other's Earths, and it's very funny and a lot of fun, very fun, a lot of fun, funny. You get the idea. Yes, The Strange Case of Harleen and Harley did make my list. That is something that we reviewed together, right?
Yeah, I think that's 10th or 11th on mine. I'm not sure. There's one that's kind of tied with it, and I'm unsure like which order to put them in myself.
I just read. Multiversity was.
I was going to
Uh,
ask you if you'd read that yet.
yeah, I did. If I was giving it stars, I'd give it 3 stars out of 5. I can be. I mean, I'm gonna buy everything except for that
Yeah.
smelly one. But I can be objective about whether
Yeah.
books are good or not. I mean, Harleen and Harley, I thought was a 5-star, and
Okay.
Multiversity, I felt was 3 stars.
You know what Jess still has not read?
Which Jess?
Your
You
Jess.
Jess?
You
Me
Jess.
Jess?
You
What
Jess.
what have I not
Is
read?
my favorite book of the year that I've recommended to you a few times, which is
Uh,
Mexikid, a graphic memoir.
I've never heard of this book.
I have told you about this one. This is so fun. This is one of the best graphic memoirs I've ever read. And
What?
he grows, why I think you would love it is he's telling a story of his childhood. His family are immigrants to America, and it's about him kind of traveling back and forth and developing an identity. But he loves superheroes, so there's tons of references to like superhero stuff throughout. But it was so well done, so fun.
Mexikid. Are you sure you've told me about this?
Yes, yeah.
Well,
Because I said your library will definitely have it, and Hoopla probably, that means Hoopla probably will, because it's a scholastic graphic novel. And I feel like libraries always carry the scholastic graphic novels because they're always
um,
like slightly
my library's
educational in nature.
terrible.
But it's a really fun book. I loved that one.
Um, uh-oh.
James, I talked to Jess offline too.
But he knows those conversations too.
He's tapping in.
Yeah.
I've accidentally signed up for the energy exchange, but really what's happening is our texts are being
Mexikid.
yeah.
Okay.
Pedro Martin. I cannot recommend this one enough. For real. I think it's a universal crowd pleaser. It's only negative is it is kind of like longer, it's a chunky guy and there is a lot of dialogue, but I think you will love this kid. And I started following him on social media afterwards, and I want to follow his career. I think he has a bright future. Pedro Martin.
That reminds me a book I need to read because it came out this year. I don't know if I can get it read by Tuesday. Is the second my favorite thing is Monsters.
Oh yeah.
Did you read that?
Just the first.
Yeah, that's what I've read. I love the first. But I also I really need to read that. I need to read Grimm too. I have Mexikid is fun and available on Libby, so I probably guess it would be on Hoopla. I did have to get it physically from my library because it
Yeah,
is a
it's
little
wordy.
wordy. Okay.
It's really its only flaw, in my opinion, is it's middle grade, obviously. Like, I mean, it could be read by anyone, but as young as middle grade. But if I was in middle school, this would take me a while. And even as an adult, it took me about 3 sittings. And normally books like this, it's like 1 sitting. You know what I mean? Like a graphic novel. But this took me 3 sittings, and I kind of want to reread it. When I was making my list, it was the clear winner. I mean, easily. The next thing down is like a full half-star down, probably. So I loved it.
I will say that's something Epic has. It's got some, it does have a lot of stuff, but a lot of words, but it's all organic and in favor of moving the plot forward and informing the reader more, because a lot of stuff has to happen in this book for you to understand it. But I will say that is something that could, if you're not patient, it could bother not you personally, but the people out there. If you're not patient, you might it might turn you off, but it's worth it on some of these wordier exchanges.
I'm trying to get better at that. I picked up this graphic memoir recently, and when I initially flipped through it, I knew it was one that would take me time. And I also really want to read Anna Karenina this year, which is very long. And
The
I think
book itself, or is there a graphic novel
the book
adaptation?
itself, the book
Oh,
itself.
wow.
But I'm realized one of my goals for 2025, or one of my intentions, is to like take my time with things and really maybe not limit what I'm the amount of things I'm reading, but like I guess a different way of saying this is my attention span, like many people's, is totally gone in a different way. I mean, obviously, I am able to read. We read these books, we're talking about them, but I give up on things that are longer or that I can't get immediately into quicker than I would have done maybe 10 or 15 years ago, even. And I
Mm,
think that's because my attention span is not as good. And I want the satisfaction, especially with a graphic novel, which I can normally read in one sitting, of like reading it in one sitting, rating it, feeling satisfactory about having read it. You know what I'm saying? Like I want that
yeah.
gratification quicker. And so I'm trying really hard to, when things are wordy like that or whatever, like just read a chunk then and come back to it later. And I don't know why, but my brain's ability to do that is really not been as strong in the last year, and I'm trying really hard to build that muscle back up, um, and have that patience. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's important. I get what you're saying. I don't feel like I struggle with that, but I do. Well, I did actually. Yeah, no, I did have to make myself. When I'd see a really wordy chunk because stuff gets so
Hmm.
explained, but it's not stuff you could skip over either.
Yeah.
It um it explains in something epic. It explains um the reason that what it explains why the why behind some of the things that he thinks of that manifest themselves.
Hmm.
And so that's, I mean, you look at something like this and that's a lot, but
Hmm.
you can't skip over it because it talks about imagination and why it's so important and how it's so important and how it ties into creativity and stuff. So I,
Hmm.
yeah. Um, Here we are saying goodbye to Kane, my good buddy. I want to wish everyone a very happy new year. Thank you for the many wonderful 2024 streams. Here's the many more wonderful streams for 2025. Take care, everyone, and see you all next year. Peace and love, Kane. I'm going to try and see if I can get a live collected edition show for tomorrow night, but I I will work on that after this show. Oh, is it time for us to end the stream? Everybody's
I
leaving.
They're like, bye, see ya. I have my last holiday party of the season tonight, and I do need to get going and start
Okay.
cooking for that.
Oh, you got
I
to
s-
start cooking. Okay.
I don't know what I'm gonna bring yet. I was gonna do jalapeno pop, like homemade jalapeno poppers,
Ooh.
but now I'm feeling lazy, and I'm like, do I want to do that? So stay
If you
tuned.
were to do them, what are they stuffed with like
Yes.
cream cheese or
Yeah.
something? And
Yeah,
and
a
then
mixture of cream cheese and cheddar, and then bacon on top, of course.
and then how do you cook them?
In the oven, just
Oh, they're
yeah, in the
baked?
oven.
Do the
Baked, yeah.
do the jalapenos have a coating? Like
No,
breadcrumbs or anything? Just regular jalapenos, but
yeah,
wrapped with bacon.
yeah. It's like the jalapeno, cream cheese, and cheddar cheese, and then you can do bacon on top or wrap it in bacon. I do bacon on top, so I cook fry up the bacon,
Yeah.
kind of like halfway, and then
Hmm.
I put like slivers of it on and in the cream cheese and the sharp cheddar. But
Uh,
sometimes I touch my eyes when I'm cooking that
oh,
and it hurts. So
yeah.
now I'm like, do I want to do that? I'm kind of absent-minded. So I'll
I
either do that.
e- um well, what's the other option?
The other option is no cook, and I can be lazy for an hour and take my time getting ready and maybe walk the dog, who's probably mad that I haven't walked him today, but it's been rainy. Which is I have candied jalapenos. So like, yeah, I candy jalapenos. I don't know how to describe it. Have you had a candied jalapeno?
No, that sounds
Okay.
good too.
You've probably had a candied vegetable though, or a candied fruit, candied like carrots or something like that.
Yeah.
So this is like spicy and sweet. And then I mix that in with cream cheese and like a food processor, and it's just a dip, like for crackers or whatever. So we'll see how lazy I become after this. But I do need to get ready for that here soon.
Okay. Oh, and it's just in time because Brave and the Boys has his show at 4 o'clock.
Perfect.
I'm sure that this is his way of saying, "Remember my show's at 4. Please don't run over it." So, peace and love to Brave and the Boys. I actually need to, now that people want my Black Friday Hall's Giving or
Yes.
whatever it was, I do need to ask Jake to help me trim it because there's a botched ending, which adds nothing to it. And I might actually swear in it too. So the next time we're getting together, let me double check. I think I already said it. It is, we're going to be with Maddie on the 18th at 1 p.m. And we are going to be reading like the next Superman books after the War World saga.
Yeah, and I don't know if Maddie has read that yet, so I need to ask her if she wants to borrow my
Warworld?
copy.
Oh, because I think it kind of informs.
I think so too. I'll let her know. She reads really quickly, so that won't be a problem. But I remember when we read it, when we read War World, you read a slightly different than I did, and I want her to have like a skinnier version, and I think I read slightly less than you did in this version. Right? Didn't you read online?
No, I had.
Or did you read?
I had the
You had the
physical.
trades.
I had the trades plus the Authority book that Grant Morrison did.
Yes, and I'll have to tell her to read that because that was not in this, correct? Wasn't that one where
Right.
you really read that?
Yeah, and I think that's an important book to
I
read
agree.
for that War World saga.
Yeah, I'll let her know.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Great. Well, as always, I enjoyed this. Oh, is her
Sure.
internet? Oh, her internet was goofing on her.
And her computer. She's been a mess, but it's not her fault. And I think it's mostly resolved. She had a series of unfortunate events.
Well, thank you to the chat for
Yes.
watching, and this is what Johnny wants you to bring. Actually, put together those
That's
two
so
things taste pretty
specific.
good. Yeah.
I'll take it under advisement, but the main thing is what's already at my house. That's the main thing.
Yeah. So thank you to the chat for being so great and watching, and of course, thank you to Earth One Jess, who is always a delight to talk to. I look forward to our next show and whatever thoughts you and I have to talk to each other about in the chat that James is somehow finding out about too, because I really don't remember Mexamelt or Mexikid at all.
Mexikid, just last plug, graphic memoir by Pedro Martin. It's a great way to end your year. I definitely told Jess about this. I promise.
Even James has questions about that. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Bo. I think you are talking to both of us. Thank you, Safar, for being here. And of course, Chris, always good to see you.
Yes.
So I will use the Omnicat theme song to play us out. And I will post online whatever I can come up with for the live collected edition show, because I know people like that. So please go now, if you can, go to Brave and Boys, where he's going to talk about organic price books and what's coming up for the week, his collected edition show. Thank you, Jeffrey, for being here. Peace and love, peace and love. Always good to see Earth One Jess, and great to see the chat. Makes me feel better just saying hi to everybody. And peace and love. Peace and love.
do one
Rock
more.
and roll! Omnidog! Hey, Omnicat! Now here's the Omnidog and Omnicat show. It's the place to sit if you'd like to know more about the books that they've read. Kristen likes Lumber, James and Steven. Jess likes Monroe, Jimmy Olsen.